Demo put up 45 yards and a game-winning score in that OT. Also, DJ Reader set for his debut on the defensive line in Week 2. He said it was a difficult journey mentally and physically to return from that injury, but he did learn a lot about himself during the rehab. And the agent of Red Wings star Lucas Raymond remains confident that a long-term deal will get done very soon, as training camp only about a week away. He told Swedish media that they are progressing on that contract, and the objective is to sign prior to the team gathering in Traverse City. From the Corewell Health Sports Desk, I'm Chris Villar. For more, go to 97.1 The Ticket and Odyssey.com.
DearJohnJansen@gmail.com. That's John spelled Jon. Dear John Jansen at gmail.com. John, we have some questions. People want advice from you. The first one involves Lions tickets.
Okay.
Dear John, like everyone, I'm excited for the Lions this season, but the cost to go to games is out of control. Don't get me wrong, I get it, they're good, but it's out of my price range. Anyway, my friend Chris had tickets to the season opener, and he asked me to go. Of course, I jumped at the chance, had my St. Brown jersey ready. Fast forward to game day, and he told me that morning he actually sold the tickets because it was, quote, too good of a deal. And he reassured me we'll go to another game this season. He messed up, right? He could have offered to sell them to me at the very least. Should I bite my tongue because I want to go to a game later in the year?
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of are in a position to bite your tongue, even though you could be upset. They're not your tickets. And I mean, you don't want to ruin a chance to go later in the season. Who knows if that actually comes up? I mean, if they backed out at the last minute on this one, don't plan on it. But
that's scummy, though.
I would have, hey, I have an offer to sell these tickets. I'm going to sell them. Do you want to buy them? I would have right of first refusal.
And maybe told her before the morning of the game as well, because she's also planning her day around that as well. I don't think she can get that mad at him. They were his tickets, and he has the right to sell them to whoever he wants. But I do think, like
maybe
you said,
she was just hoping this was something more.
Maybe.
A little day at the stadium.
I do think he should have given her a heads up, and maybe she would have said, all right, you know what? I have been thinking about it and saving a little bit. I'd like to buy them. And she can just express to him that, yeah, I'm really bummed. I wish you would have extended the offer to me, but I'm looking forward to next time. Just so he knows that, okay, well, maybe next time I can sell them to her.
Yeah. Boy, I would have liked to have bought those, but
yeah, right.
I understand.
Yeah, if you invite someone to a game the day of to say...
To cancel?
That's bad form.
And I get when they're going to be the most valuable.
Well, that's...
Surprised you said, hey, cash in hand. Great value.
2-1 on these seats. People are fighting for them. All right, what's the next one?
The next one is spotting a girl at the gym while my girlfriend was there.
Oh, boy.
Dear John, I'm 20. My girlfriend is 23, and we started dating about 5 months ago. We usually work out together, but she was running late from class, so I started without her. While I was there, I noticed that there was a girl struggling with her squat form. Her knees were bending in unevenly and her back wasn't straight, so I gave her a tip to avoid injury. She asked me to spot her for a heavy set. Since the gym was literally empty other than us, I agreed, thinking it was just common sense to help somebody lifting heavy. I was standing pretty close to her to make sure she wouldn't get hurt. However, my girlfriend arrived right at that moment and saw us like that. She didn't say anything at the time, but later she was really upset. She told me I looked like I was being too friendly and that helping her with her form and spotting her like that when she wasn't there crossed the line. She also said I shouldn't have been that close to another girl in the gym, especially while joking around. I tried explaining that I was just helping somebody and didn't think it was inappropriate, but she's still mad about it.
All right, well, so the girlfriend's a little insecure. I mean, it is uncomfortable to correctly spot anyone doing a heavy squat.
Yeah.
Not a great position to be in unless she's hot. I'm guessing she was hot. That's probably why he noticed her squatting to begin with.
It's uncomfortable for the girlfriend because she didn't see any of that buildup, right? She didn't realize, she didn't see how bad this woman's form was. She didn't see what went down before. All she walked in on was him spotting her while she's doing squat. So
yes.
I get that you wouldn't want that.
Of all the things to spot someone, like if it's bench press, it's a little different, right? You're just hovering over and you're helping them up. The squat is so much more intimate compared to all the other ones that you'd be helping with, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you're talking about
Body position. Yes.
Bench press can be still a little bit awkward.
Could be, but not as much as a squat. Either way, I thought this
on
was
your view.
I would be uncomfortable by it. If I walked into the gym and saw Colin spotting some female doing a squat, I would be like, oh,
really?
What's going on? Yeah. I mean, bottom line is it would dwindle away and it would be nothing, right?
Yeah.
But I think right off the bat, I'd be like,
in the moment, it would be. Here's the other part of this. Should you be offering to help people at the gym, or do you just kind of let them lift and mind your business?
Oh, I always tell people at the gym.
I think it's okay to help people.
Yeah.
I mean, I never have, because what am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to spot anybody.
Right.
But I guess I don't know. I think it's okay too, but I don't know if I actually would. Now, if I saw somebody doing something really crazy, like using a piece of equipment wrong,
dangerous? Sure.
I don't think I have helped another female. She was having trouble with something afterward, and she asked me, and I kind of said, "Oh yeah, actually you needed to do this," and she's like, "Oh, okay." But I don't know if I would just jump in. I'm pretty much in my own zone though, usually.
Maybe, I mean, if that's the last set, fine. Maybe the next set, if she still needs a spot, you could offer the opportunity for your girlfriend to spot and watch.
This is 100% the beginning. 100% the beginning of a porno scene.
Oh no!
I mean, but yeah. If the gym is empty, like if somebody asks for help,
well, that's different. But
then you're kind
offered.
I still don't see a problem with it.
Ultimately, it is not a problem. It's an insecurity thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yes. Move on.
The next one says, wife's gone clubbing.
Oh, boy.
Dear John, I'm married. I'm in my mid-40s. We've got a great group of friends, but lately our wives want to go to dance clubs where the majority of people are half our age. I'm the youngest of the husbands in the group. We go along, but we feel uncomfortable. We get weird looks, the occasional comment. It's just awkward. We've had conversations with our wives about being uncomfortable, and all we get is, well, then don't come. The 1 or 2 times I've sat out, my wife was cool towards me for several days. She really enjoys going with her friends. I don't want her to stop that, but I understand she feels safer when I'm around. It's hard for me and my buddies because we feel like losers who are too old for the club, despite the fact that we are there with our wives. Is my perspective valid? Do I need to just suck it up?
Well, I don't want to say it's not valid. You feel how you feel, but ignore everybody that's around you. If your wife is having a good time, have a good time with your wife. Have a good time with your group of friends. And if there's a whole bunch of young people that are looking cross-eyed at you, so be it. Who cares? You guys are much right to be there as anybody else. If you're having a good time, have a good time. Now, if it's a bunch of old people that are taking up slow dancing on the dance floor, now, don't get in the way.
Now, I took this as he doesn't like going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get. Okay,
well, then
so,
I would say
yeah,
just let your wife
maybe,
go. Why? If she said that, don't come. Don't come.
But then she ices him out the next day.
Right. I mean,
if she's going clubbing to go dance and he's not dancing and just sitting in a booth with his buddies, why does he need to be there?
And if she's there with friends, it's not like she's there alone, right?
No,
There's some strength in numbers.
Sure, there is. But, I mean, just... Okay, conversation earlier today. If she's going to sit there and watch a whole bunch of college football with you or NFL for whatever the sports are, then go along and have a good time. Maybe you're uncomfortable, so what?
When's the last time you went to a
club?
A club. What's the age cutoff?
What's that?
What's the age cutoff?
The age cutoff? I don't think there's an age cutoff.
Oh, I don't either.
Yeah, I would be fine going to a club.
Now?
Sure.
It might depend on which club you go to. I haven't been club. I don't know if I've ever been clubbing.
Yeah. By the way, I'm a phenomenal dancer.
Are you?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How many drinks in do we need to see that?
I could.
Oh, you're just
dance
ready.
Drink free. Yeah. I like having a good time, especially if I'm having a good time with my wife. If we get a chance to go out, I'm going out to have a good time, and it doesn't have to include drinks to have a good time. I don't think there's an age on that.
I have one more. Dear John, I was grocery store shopping with my wife and we were in a hurry. Went to grab some eggs, and when I grabbed one carton, I bumped another off the shelf and broke an egg. Saw it ooze out and everything. There was an employee 2 coolers over who probably saw it but didn't say anything. I pretended it didn't happen, put the carton on the shelf, and left. Should I have tried to clean up? Should I have said something? Should I have had to pay for it? Did I do anything wrong?
I don't think you necessarily did anything wrong. I think you can offer, hey, especially if the employee's right there and they're in eyesight, earshot, then you just say, hey, is there a chance you could get me a rag to help clean this up?
Chances are they'd say, I'll just take care of it.
Yeah,
But
I'll
at least
take care of it.
offered.
Yeah. And then they probably grab it, they take it in the back, and then you don't have to pay for it because it's gone already.
Yep.
I think you definitely notify the employee you saw 2 coolers down. He's right there. If you don't see an employee, I don't think you have to pay for it. I think it was an accident.
Yeah.
I think that's a mistake. If you try to carry the carton, you might make a bigger mess because if it's oozing everywhere, you probably set it to the side.
Yeah.
And
they swap out like cracked eggs at the register sometimes anyway. So it's not like if you had a cracked egg and you have to pay for it.
Right.
No.
And I mean, I always open up the carton of eggs anyway to see if there are any cracked ones, and sometimes there are. So we just set it to the side, and then if I see somebody, I'll just say, hey, the one that's setting off to the side has a cracked egg in it. Might want to remove it. But yeah, offer to clean it up.
Yes. There you go. You want to submit to the Dear John questions? You go to your email, you send it to dearjohnjansen@gmail.com, and we will read some of yours next week. It's 97.1.
you guys, you might be finding yourself, oh, no, that's not it. You're not finding yourself. You're wanting to go to the gym. That's what I want to talk to you about, the YMCA. If you're looking for ways to level up your fitness, you can join the YMCA.
And finding somebody to spot.
With no contract and no joiner fees and for just $3 a day. I'm loving all the YMCA has to offer, including access to indoor pools, Les Mills Group Fitness, hundreds of machines, discounts on personal training, which, I'm taking full advantage of right now. And it's all with free child watch while you work out. And you can actually go and you can try the Y for free. Visit any of the 7 Metro Detroit locations and get a free guest pass. Learn more at ymcadetroit.org and find your Y today.
Check in with AJ Hinch coming up at 9:35 this morning. Tigers stay within 3 with a win yesterday. 3 of a playoff spot. Some ticket text reacting to Dear John. On the Lions tickets, that jerk didn't sell them. He met someone hotter to take to the game.
It's always a possibility. Might want to upgrade.
Someone else going instead. That's why they weren't offering to sell you the seats. If you don't know the proper form for squats, why would you proceed to do heavy squats?
Well, because, people do that all the time.
Well, and heavy is, up
It's
to
relative.
interpretation.
Yeah.
That's why you have a spotter.
Yeah.
It says, guy gives the girl a tip about her squat form. Was it just the tip? Hey-o. John, that one was for you.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Colin helped another woman squat. He can't even reach the bar. That would never happen.
Yeah, so we during the commercial break, we did
Yep.
switch it around. If Heather was doing the squat, Colin walked in watching another man spot correctly.
Right.
Your wife.
Wife or girlfriend, partner, whatever.
Sure, whatever it is.
We're just using Heather as an example.
Yeah.
He wouldn't walk in and be like, all right, continue on.
Right,
Keep
yeah.
spotting her.
You'd be like,
No,
no, I can
yeah.
take it from here.
I got it from
Yeah.
here.
Let's.
Thank you for your assistance. I'll take it from here.
And it's not going to lead to anything. Just you feel uncomfortable with it.
Sure.
Sure.
Because you trust your partner, but
Sure.
still uncomfortable. Ticket Texter says, sounds like Cookies has never bench pressed in his life. When you spot someone on the bench, your junk is in their face. Roy.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
I played high school football. I've bench pressed. I just think the squat form is more, you're
So
up in
the-
their business. If you're squatting like John,
Yeah, but yes. So looking appearances, yes, you are the correct way to spot. You're
hugged right up against them.
yeah, they're backing right up to you.
Right.
But from the bench perspective, looking up and spotting a heavy bench, like your junk's right there. Yeah.
I'm a certified personal trainer. I help when I see an injustice or wrongdoing in the gym. It's a natural response for me on the ticket text.
Well, yeah, I owned a gym for a while, and I would have to spot a lot of people doing a lot of different things. And you want people to do the right form so they don't get hurt.
Girl in the gym squatting by herself. I usually fast forward through that scene.
Exactly. Yes. Let's get to the plot of the story here.
I feel like Greg set that one up. And the last one, talking about the eggs in the grocery store. You pay for the eggs. They'll throw it away now. You've wasted it.
They throw the whole carton away when one egg breaks?
No.
Even if it
didn't
was
know
2 or
that.
3, you don't throw the whole thing away. That'd be stupid. No. And these grocery stores, by the way, plan for some spoilage and loss. Like they're
Sure.
not hard up for the
Accidents do happen.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, no, I've never been in a grocery store where they're like, you broke it, you bought it. No,
They understand.
Yes,
Yeah.
and eggs do cost more than they did 4 years ago.
Well, let's get to Heather's news.
Oh, let's do it. I don't even have my news organizer ready to go because I was so into this. Okay, this is not that shocking, but Taylor Swift.
Squatting or benching?
No, just the conversation.
She's just engaging
Yeah.
the show, John.
Taylor Swift, she won a whole bunch of awards at last night's VMAs, including Video of the Year, Best Collaboration for Fortnite that was featuring Post Malone. She also won Artist of the Year. The list goes on and on, right? But during an acceptance speech for Video of the Year, she thanked all the people that helped her create the video, and then she got all gushy over Travis Kelce, of course. So she recalled finishing each take of the video and hearing somebody cheering in the studio. That person, of course, was Kelce. She also said that everything this man touches turns to happiness and fun and magic. So I want to thank him for adding that to our shoot. Of course, he was not there to hear the speech live, but the audience all, cheered with excitement. So there you have it. That's cute, right? So one of the many side effects that comes along with being a pro athlete is dealing with fans when you're out in public. And for Lewis Hamilton, those interactions can occasionally get kind of dangerous because he is actually set to appear on today's episode of Hot Ones. And they released a teaser for the episode. And in it, he revealed that random people will pull up next to him at stoplights and challenge him to a race.
What did she say that you're laughing
happening?
about?
You're like in tears over here, laughing hysterically. What
phrase
did I
she
say?
use?
No,
Yeah.
these two are
You did
passing
not.
notes in class.
Yeah,
So you're texting each other.
yeah, that's a great way to put it, Greg. We got caught by the teacher.
So now you got to read it aloud. What did Tom text you?
Yeah, exactly. Would you like to share it with the class?
No, thank you.
On Lewis
I'll
Hamilton.
take detention.
On Lewis Hamilton, of course people
That's
try
how
to
that
race
story
him.
ends, too.
They're still going.
Get out of
Heather,
here.
I was paying attention to
Thank
your news.
you.
I get why people want to race the race
I do
car
too.
driver.
Yes. Connor Stallions. Let's talk about him. He is still a hardcore
Yeah,
Michigan
John
football
Buzzkill.
fan. And even though he resigned from his off-field analyst job, basically after being outed as the ringleader for the whole sign-stealing scandal, he says that he wants to coach at Michigan again and feels he has support to one day return. Yeah.
Well, Johnny helped to win all those games. You think they'd like him?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he is, of course, as you know, acting as
Tell
the
me you have
head
no
football
touch
coach.
with reality without actually saying it.
No, he said, well,
Yeah, he said
I know,
it, yeah.
I know. But yes, he says that, yes, there's people that are like backing him up and that,
Sure.
people are cheering for him.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, right.
John Bon Jovi saved a woman's life. He was actually filming a video on a bridge in Nashville. This happened Tuesday night. And he noticed this woman was standing out on the ledge in despair, looking like she was ready to take her own life. He was able to go over to this woman, convince her not to jump, and then helped her off the ledge. He apparently has crisis training, because of his foundation, his JBJ Soul Foundation. He deals with people facing hunger and homelessness, and he knows how to talk with them. So he was there. The fire department praised him and basically said, you know what? You are a hero.
That's a great story.
Did you hear the story about Joe Buck and his wife?
So fill in the
yeah.
details.
Oh, my
Because this is one
God.
of those, you see the headline and I know
Ouch.
So his wife, Michelle, had to undergo surgery after she was involved in a golf mishap involving her husband. So turns out he actually accidentally drove a golf ball into her ankle. And on Wednesday, she shared a video on her social media trying to explain kind of what happened. It was actually him sharing the story, said that they went on a quick getaway with some downtime to go enjoy some golf. And okay, they were like wrapping up their golf game. He was about to tee off and she was doing a handstand.
What?
That's how apparently this is something she does.
She just does handstands.
She's
Frequently?
a very fitness enthusiast.
Yeah,
Yes and yes.
But fine, maybe that's your thing. Why in any way in the line of his
I mean,
shot?
unless I didn't listen to the video, I'm reading the audio, like reading what he said. So unless I'm taking this wrong, he said that that's something that she has been known to do throughout the relationship. Handstands.
Randomly do handstands
Anyway,
on a golf course.
nailed her ankle. It was shattered and her tibial nerve was severely damaged as well. She's tried other things to, heal. Nothing's really worked. So she has decided to undergo surgery to speed up the healing process.
So what really happened? Because this doesn't make any sense. She's doing a handstand.
Did you read it?
I
Did
don't
you
know.
see
It's
the
so
video? Did you
wild.
read about it? Am I like...
No, I'm not saying you're reporting the news incorrectly. I'm saying I don't believe that that's what happened. That seems so ridiculous that she's doing a handstand in the line of his drive.
I'd like to read this quote if I can.
Yeah.
If I can find it. He called it a freak accident, but I swear he said it was just like something that, right here. Michelle has been known to do headstands during the course of our courtship and marriage. She happened to be doing a handstand at that exact moment.
But the better question is, like, where was she standing or headstanding, handstanding? Like, was she like? I mean,
Be behind the
At a
guys
golf
teeing
course?
off, right? RIP to that ankle. That sounds painful.
Yeah, super painful. Finally, Tyreek Hill says that he could have handled himself better during his whole traffic stop on Sunday. I think we all agree to that. He spoke with reporters on Wednesday, and he basically said that he wishes he could have done things a bit differently, including leaving that window down when the officers instructed him to do so.
Makes sense to me.
Yep.
And that's Heather with the news. AJ Hinch on the Red Hot Tigers next, 97.1.
When it comes to managing your finances, you need a bank that gets you and is genuinely interested in your success. That's why I bank with First Merchants Bank. Whether it's your business banking or day-to-day personal banking, First Merchants Bank is 100% interested in helping you prosper. First Merchants bankers are attentive. They're going to sit down with you and ask you as many questions that they can that you're willing to answer so that they can build a financial plan that fits your unique situation. And when you make the switch to First Merchants Bank, you're also going to get access to their highly rated mobile banking app with innovative personal finance tools. Plus, they're deeply connected to the community's needs because it's their community as well. It's where they live and work. They volunteer and donate on a regular basis to local causes to ensure that we all prosper together. This is the difference of 100% interest in you. For a better banking experience, visit firstmerchants.com. That's firstmerchants.com. First Merchants Bank, helping you prosper. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Broke the game open. Dan Dickerson's call. Tigers win. Back at it today. Day game, 110. Scooble on the bump. They win, they'll be 2.5 out of a playoff spot.
Yep.
We just had AJ on, and we've made the case today. Manager of the year if they get in. He won't win it, but no one's managed their roster better than AJ if this team gets in the playoffs.
No, and I think in baseball circles, everybody is looking at AJ going, you're a master wizard. Outside of it, I don't know that people really understand how difficult it's been for AJ to get to this point.
It doesn't make sense to me, which is why I've just given in and said it's a team of destiny kind of feeling. I mean, how do you explain what's going on right now? You stop trying to make sense of it.
What do they got to be in the next 10?
So the next 10 is the Rockies today plus the 9-game stretch we've discussed, Baltimore, KC, Baltimore. I think they have to go 6-4 in that stretch. They'll probably make up a game or two at that point, and they'll be set up for the final games of the year against the Rays and the White Sox.
And you'll have 2 Scooble starts.
Yep.
So they basically have to go, you said 6-4 in 10, so they're going to have to go 3-4 outside of Scooble starts.
Yeah. Well, they won't have 3 Scooble starts in the next 10.
No, sorry.
It's 2 Scooble starts in the next 10.
4-4.
Yeah. So be 500 outside of Tarek Scooble.
Right.
Math can be tricky, John.
Yes, I know, especially used when all those single digits.
Yeah, all these numbers.
Yes.
It really adds up. 6-4, you agree with that?
Yeah,
you don't have to believe they're going to do it, but that feels like the barometer.
No, I mean, I believe they can go 6-4. I just don't know 6-4 gets it done.
It's the minimum, right?
The minimum, yeah.
That's kind of what, when we hammer this out for the show, that's what we're like, what's the bare minimum? And that keeps them in it. And so then you get to the last week and you're 2 or 3 out and you got shot, right? But I don't know, man, with them playing the 27 Yankees 6 of these next games, I mean, that's how John feels about the Orioles, the fear.
So taking it in stride, looking at everything that Minnesota has as well. They've got 3 against Cincinnati. All right. One is not like the other, but that's all right because then they have 4 at Cleveland and 3 at Boston. Now, at that time, Boston might still be in the mix, and they're going to be doing everything that they can to win as well. And then they obviously finish with the 3 at Baltimore. But that's outside the 10 that we're talking about. So if the Detroit Tigers in the next 10 go 6-4, and what do you think, given those and giving the path that Minnesota has been on? It's not been a good month at least for Minnesota.
Yeah.
They've had some rough stretches.
My point is, can you make up one game? You don't have to make up all 3. If you can make up one game, get it down to 2, knowing you got 3 with the White Sox at the end and you got Scooble 2 of the final 6 or 7 games of the season, just get it closer. Just keep winning.
You know the Orioles only have 8 more wins than the Tigers. Aren't you what your record is? No. I'm using things against John that John usually doesn't prescribe by.
No, I don't.
Sorry.
But it's, I mean, when you're looking at all things total, like they're just a more productive team at the plate than the Tigers are. They're more reliable in regards to if they have a bad outing on the mound, they can overcome. And when you look at the Tigers, I mean, you look at their wins. Okay, recently, in the last 3 games, they've been putting up a lot of runs, but there's a lot of 2-1 wins, a lot of 3-0 wins. I mean, like it's not like your margin for error is great.
No, and the Tigers have been playing with fire, this group outing deal. They don't have a starter announced for Friday or Saturday, which means, if it goes south, you start taxing that bullpen and you don't have your starters. We know it can fall apart. The beauty of this is that they haven't. Like, they've defied all logic. Yeah. And that's hard. Like, I'm a logic guy. You're a logic guy. You just say, you know what? Maybe it doesn't make sense. And that's okay. Yeah. Gator, we're having fun with this baseball team. I know you guys are too.
Oh, yeah. It's a blast. I love it. I mean, we're in middle of September, and this team's relevant. I mean, they're not in the playoffs yet, but they're close, and things are getting tighter by the minute. I love that, and I've said for a while here that, it's not just Minnesota they're chasing. It's Kansas City, too. You can rope Kansas City, and they lost last night. So they're, a little bit closer, and that's who the Tigers play next week. So don't just focus on the low-hanging fruit, which is Minnesota. look just a little bit in front of them because they're only, I think, 2.5 games in front of Minnesota. So I love what's going on. I think this is so much fun.
Doug's in the studio, too. I got tipped off. Won't spoil it. One of your football questions today, I think, is brilliant.
We agree.
I cannot wait for that. What time do you guys do your football questions?
The Wide Night Omaha 4-Down Around League Blitz thingy is at 10:30.
What else you got planned today?
Well, with some Lions talk, we'll mix in some Tigers, plus something that we brought up on the air yesterday made it to TV. We'll get to that as well, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
You guys are big time.
That's right.
Breaking down boundaries.
Breaking ceilings, glass
Yes,
ceilings.
you like glass,
It's the
yes.
roof.
That's what the ceiling is.
The roof.
Ceiling's a roof.
As Michael Jordan would say, the ceiling is the roof.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
And we quote Jordan all the time.
That's right.
Yes, just hope it's not on
Great
fire.
philosopher.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very.
MJ once said.
Yeah. You learned that from from the Zen master.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
So dumb. The worst is fall down 7 times, get up 8, which is physically impossible. If you fall down once, you get up once.
Yes.
So if you fall down a 7th time, you get up
The 7th time.
Not an 8th.
What if you start on the ground, Doug?
Sorry, I don't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Is it an up down or a down up?
You didn't fall. You're right, Doug. Philosophical discussions and more
Chicken in
with
the egg coming up next.
it's Carson Anderson, 97.1.
All right, happy Thursday. Welcome to the Carson Anderson program. I am Doug Carson. That is Scott the Gator Anderson. Anything exciting last night in the Gator household?
I just watched another Tiger win.
Yep.
That's always fun.
I spent, you watch that game and the game starts and you do what one does. You start figuring out which team in the National League you don't want to play in the World Series. That's how I spent a good portion of my night.
Is that it?
Because the Tigers apparently have opted to not lose again the rest of the way. Here's the thing about this. Seriously, when they got off to the 6-0 lead, ESPN had that triple play or squeeze play or whatever the hell they were calling it, where they basically do red zone for baseball last night.
Okay.
And so I was like, wait, they're bouncing back and forth between Yankees, Royals, and Twins, Angels. And the Tigers were up 6-0. And so I kind of started flipping around and started watching the squeeze triple play or whatever the hell it was, so I could see what was going on in those games, because at that point, I safely assumed that the Tigers were going to win, and they did, but we'll get into plenty of Tiger talk today. Afternoon game against Colorado, they go for the sweep. They did what we desperately asked them. Well, we didn't desperately. We said it would be awfully useful to do, which is win the first 2 games going into the Scooble start. So,
yeah, did their job. I guess for 2 seconds of Tiger talk here, I was a little disappointed after the first inning because I thought this was going to be a lot of fun. Watch them score, get into the 15-run range, and then they just kind of took the foot off the gas. I shouldn't say that because they didn't. It's not like the intensity let up. It's just that the runs stopped coming.
Yeah.
They had 14 hits in the game. That was pretty great.
Yeah. Well,
it was more than what they had when they scored 11 runs.
But you remember when they had that 5-5 stretch, and we were talking about how they were kind of lucky because they had so many timely hits to win those 5 games. They go through those 5 games. They aren't hitting across the board. And then we wondered, what if they got hot? What if there's like a correction factor of any kind? And now they might be getting hot. Hopefully they can stay hot through the weekend, because I feel like it's going to be a fun weekend at Comerica Park.
Well, this is a very important weekend
One
at
might say.
Comerica Park, to say the least, with the Orioles coming to town tomorrow. But they got to take care of business first today with the Rockies finishing up that series and Tarek Skubal on the hill.
Okay, Lions hosting Tampa on Sunday. Gator, I don't think Detroit is sweating the Buccaneers very much. Should they be sweating them more? Should we be paying closer attention to this Tampa, this spunky young group from Florida?
Well, obviously, I think the Lions are going to be taken plenty seriously. But will the fans? I mean, that's a question. I think it's a legit question, because I think, for the most part, Tampa Bay has been a harmless team, with the exception of a couple Brady years.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Tampa made the playoffs last year, but the Lions beat them, and they beat them in the regular season. We kind of saw that. But if you look closer, the team's gotten better. Tampa is just, they're playing better football. And it's because Baker Mayfield's playing better. I kind of like their coaching staff they have there. They just put 37 points up on the Commanders. And the thought of the Commanders coming into this season by a lot of people was, what's a good defense they have there? It's going to take some time with Jaden Daniels in the offense because he's a rookie, but that defense is pretty good. 37 points.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield threw 4 touchdown passes. He was sacked only once with that really good defensive line that they have. They only got to him once. So it's that's something to take a look at, when you consider what the Lions defense is, and it's improving, I think, what Detroit has, but you can't look past Tampa. You can't look past anybody. And when you only have 17 games, it shouldn't be that difficult, because each week you're literally preparing for something else.
Yep.
It's amazing. And then you contrast that with what AJ Hinch is doing with the Tigers, and how to keep the Tigers focused on, one game at a time when you're playing every single day. Here in the NFL, you play once a week. But nonetheless, they'll take them seriously, and they should be taken seriously.
Of course the team will. I don't think the fans are like all stoked, fired up, got to beat this Tampa team in that kind of place right now. And it's funny. You go back a year, okay? 1 year ago, the Detroit Lions went into the season with expectations, just like this team. And 1 year ago, the Detroit Lions played a team that had postseason expectations. In fact, 1 year ago, they played the defending Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, and they came home with the victory. You remember that? You remember that?
I do.
Everybody
remember
that?
Yeah, I remember that.
And in week 2, the Lions were a 4.5-point home favorite against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks had lost their opener to Cincinnati. The Seahawks came in here and won. 1 year later, the Lions probably don't look as good in the opener. They have a few more hiccups along the way. I'm not mad at them. I think it's the kind of game that you just win. But I think people can nitpick a little bit more about this opener than last year's opener. And they're coming back, and they're a 7-point favorite against the Buccaneers. The only reason I'm bringing this up and comparing this year to last year is to just the reminder that every week is tough in the NFL. You can't punch button a win. And oh, by the way, if you lose the game, it's not the end of the world. Now, if you're already talking, it's funny because I brought up with Jared Goff this week how that win over the Rams, they pocket what could be a key tiebreaker. And Jared was like, yeah, we're not thinking about seeding. We're not playing for seeding right now. And I'm like, I know you're not, but this could be something that we reference back later in the year as being very important. This Tampa game, I don't expect Tampa to be in the mix. Although the one thing about Tampa, if Tampa actually is really good and they play in that division, they might have 6 auto wins, and that could help them in a battle for seeding. And so winning the tiebreaker over Tampa also could be important.
One thing Goff did concede, though, was that it was they didn't look at it for seeding, but it did say it was an NFC win.
Yeah.
And that was big for it. When you look at Tampa and go back to last year, keep this in mind. Tampa beat Philadelphia in the playoffs last year to set up the matchup with the Lions.
Right.
And then the Lions went up 31-17 late in that game, and Tampa scored another touchdown to answer. And then Tampa got the ball back, and they had a chance with like a minute and a half to do something. And the second play of their drive, Derek Barnes comes up with a big interception. But Baker Mayfield threw for 349 yards. Mike Evans was a real problem in that game. And we know the Lions secondary wasn't, what it is now. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, they do have some weapons there. And I just would always caution that. And Tampa may very well be the best team in the South. Although the way that New Orleans started up, that's quite a start for them offensively. And what exactly is Atlanta? Is Atlanta going to be nowhere near what people thought they were to start this season? But Tampa seems like this slow and steady one. Like there's not a whole lot of erratic behavior from this football team. They kind of are what they are, which is a tough football team.
Light went on for Baker Mayfield late last year, where he was averaging over 300 yards a game, like the last 6 games he played in the regular season. He threw 14 touchdown passes to 2 picks. In fact, in his last 7 games, he's thrown 18 touchdowns and 2 picks and averaged over 300 yards passing.
That's without the playoffs.
That's with the playoffs.
Oh,
that's including the playoffs.
So the only 2 interceptions he threw were against the Lions?
I think so. Got to go back in the game log.
Because he threw 2 picks in that game against the Lions.
Yeah, then that would be it.
Wow.
Yep. So he's really been on a roll. And the Lions, look, I mean, got to take this team seriously. And it's funny. I'm talking to the fans more than I guess I'm talking to the team. I think the team knows it. The team gets it. Team's been around, veteran team. I think they know what they're doing. 248-539-9797. We'll get to your phone calls and feedback next. Also, swing around the NFL with the Wide Night Omaha 49 Round League Blitz thingy with a question that apparently everybody in the morning show likes. That is coming up at 10:30 here on Carson Anderson on 97.1 The Ticket.
I know you guys see them. It's the red, white, and blue trucks. They're all over the place. They're out there to help you out, and those trucks belong to the only plumbing and HVAC team that I trust. It's Birmingham Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. These guys are absolutely amazing. They go above and beyond for you and what you need. They're going to help you keep you warm this fall with the most up-to-date and efficient equipment on the market. But don't just take my word for it. You can check out their A+ rating for the Better Business Bureau. Or how about some of their 5-star reviews on Google? So whether it's your furnace or a water heater, a boiler, or water filtration, schedule an appointment online at birminghamplumbingco.com. Birmingham Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, your Metro Detroit boiler experts.
to your phone calls in a moment. Tiger baseball coming up this afternoon. Go for the sweep against Colorado. Hey, Minnesota and Kansas City have the day off, so they could shave another half game off their lead. I just did the numbers on Baker Mayfield, and it turns out it coincides with a stat. You saw this during a broadcast?
Yeah, I forget where it was. It was Monday Night Football or something. I don't know. Maybe even been Sunday Night Football as they were discussing the Lions' next game or something like that. But they had, since week 14 of last year, Baker Mayfield has been the top-rated quarterback in football. His quarterback rating was over 111, and that coincides with that streak that starts, I believe it's the game at Atlanta when they won at 29-25, and that began this incredible touchdown-to-interception ratio. He only had 2 interceptions in regular season the rest of the way, and then he threw 2 more against the Lions in the playoff.
Here's the whole stat line. 162 of 235, 69%, 298 yards a game, 18 touchdowns, 4 picks in that stretch. He's been on fire. And I actually am kind of excited to see, this is a great point of comparison. Last year's pass defense versus this year's pass defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, Baker Mayfield against the Lions last year, 26 of 41, 349, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. If he goes out and has a pedestrian game, we can talk a little bit about how the Lions, we have some tangible evidence, kind of a data point, a point of comparison.
Well, and the other thing is that the offensive line for Tampa is not great. I mean, he took a bunch of sacks. He got sacked 40 times in a regular season last year, and then got sacked another 8 times in the playoffs last year, 4 in each game against the Philadelphia Eagles and 4 against Detroit. So you can get to him, but what it tells you is he's a tough some gun, right?
Yep.
He takes the hit and gets back up, and you got to admire that about him. That being said, the Lions have a better team. They showed it twice against Tampa last year. Is Tampa slow and steady getting better? I think they probably are. But you know what? I think the Lions were better last year, and they got better in the offseason. So I like what we have here.
Let's get to your phone calls. Brandon on a cell. You're on 97.1 The Ticket. What's up, Brandon?
What's up, boys?
Hey.
Not worried about Tampa at all. Stafford gets the ball out so fast, and Baker Mayfield's not going to be able to do that. DJ Reader's going to be in his face. Aleem's going to be there. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they're going to get their touches. Everybody knows that. Another thing, too, once Baker starts scrambling a little bit, everybody's back there. It's over. And I just want to say this in case the dude that called last year before the playoffs and said this to us, bless their heart. That's all I want to say. Tampa fans, bless their heart.
Go a little Southern hospitality on it. Huh?
That's funny.
You know it.
That's funny. I forgot about that guy. Well
Oh,
played.
Bless your heart.
Great first caller because, yeah, Baker clearly has had a resurgence in Tampa, and that guy's a gamer, Gator. He's as tough as Stafford, honestly. He'll get back up. He competes every single down, and it's going to be hard to knock him out of the game. With that being scared, I'm not trembling in my boots like you guys are. You guys sound fearful, man. Listen, here's the reason why I'm so confident. This is the reason why. Tampa's banged up. Offensively, we know what they do. Mike Evans is the guy. Baker's a gamer, like I said. But their tackle might not play. They don't have a backup right tackle. They're going to have to shift that offensive line around. And more importantly, defensively, they've got a ton of injuries in the secondary right now. I expect St. Brown, Laporta, those guys who didn't get a bunch of targets and receptions this past week, I expect those numbers to go up significantly. I think the Lions take care of this one pretty easy.
You know what I'm hearing?
What are you hearing?
I'm hearing, and that's fine. I respect much respect for Kang. I am hearing what is clearly a book it Red Solo Cup guarantee. That's what I'm hearing from behind the glass. That's exactly what I'm hearing.
Kang's going all Solo Cup. Huh?
This is where I actually agree with Gator. Is we should never ever do that, right, Gator? That's,
I don't even want to.
You can call me Chesty. You can call me whatever. Don't ever bring up Red Solo Cup guarantee to me.
On this show, the dynamic on this show is when we start to laugh a little bit about something, and then one of us can gang up with the other person on somebody on the third.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
When Doug second he mentioned Red Solo Cup, I'm like, I don't know.
You're out.
I don't.
You lost them at
how
Red
about
Solo
at least
Cup.
shoot the boot guarantee? Will you do that?
It sounds a hell of a lot better than.
It does sound better.
Dude, everything sounds better than that.
So that's why we don't bring it up.
Listen, I respect the NFL more than most. Any given Sunday is a true thing. So it's not like the Lions can't lose this game. But I'm just not fearful because of the injury factor. They're coming in here really banged up, the Tampa Bay defense. Kancey might not play again. The secondary, like I mentioned, is dealing with a bunch of injuries. And we know the Lions' passing offense is better than what they showed against the Rams, and I just expect those two to combine Sunday and perfect storm. Goff and the receivers have a good day.
Jeremy Fowler on ESPN's website today, his upset of the week is Buccaneers over the Lions.
Hot take.
Yeah, and he writes, it looks like we're both going to be bold here. Oh, because Dan Graziano picked the Falcons over the Eagles. He said because they had to pick an upset. Looks like we're both going to be bold here, skipping the tight spreads in favor of real upsets. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs offense looked in complete command in week 1. Mayfield was well protected. The running game looks stout, and Mike Evans is still Mike Evans. Tampa Bay will be motivated by its 0-2 record against Detroit last season, including a lousy 6-point effort in week 6. I don't have any reason to think the Lions will sleepwalk through this one. I'm just expecting a spirited back and forth with the Bucs making one more play late.
Well, Baker was sacked only once against Washington.
Mm-hmm.
He completed 24 out of 30 passes, which is 80%, for 289 yards and 4 touchdowns. The quarterback rating was 146.4. People don't like that. They want the QBR. Fine. How's 86.2? That was outstanding for him last week. Not only that, but he took off and ran 3 times for 21 yards. So, he has to be accounted for without question. He's resurrecting his career.
248-539-9797. Greg's in Detroit, 997 a ticket. Hello, Greg.
Good morning, guys, and you guys are the greatest.
Thank you.
And I'm really upset with you guys because you made me an educated fan and not an emotional fanatic.
He did it. He's not supposed to do that. Stop it. No preambles. No premeditated routine there. Just get to the point. We're okay. We love you, Greg. You can call back another time. But no. Stop it.
Can't just roll the helmets out there. Don't get me wrong. I picked the Lions to win the Super Bowl, but I believed coming into the season they would lose one of these first 2. Beat the Rams good, beat the Bucs pretty good, do both in consecutive weeks. Not easy. That's from Scott. Look, there's something to be said for, I like the Lions' chances. My point was not that they are going to lose to Tampa. My point was Tampa's perfectly capable of winning this game, and don't freak out if they do. Joel Warren writes in, the Lions need to be quicker on the defensive adjustments or they could lose this game. Unnamed texter, Tampa's a good football team. I see them being similar to the Rams game. And then this from an unnamed texter, get off Baker's leg, Gator. Yeah, Gator.
Not on his leg. Not even close. I respect what he's done in coming back. That's all.
Well, he has done a nice job turning it around.
And I think you got to be careful about this guy because he's played awfully well.
I'm going to be interested to see. We always talk about like when a player switches teams. I'm going to be interested to see how much Tampa goes at Carlton Davis. You know what I mean? Yeah. Does that speak? Do they avoid him, and that speaks to the real way they feel about him, or do they go right at him? The former Tampa Bay cornerback, who's now, of course, here in Detroit. All right, we'll get more Lions stuff a little bit later on. We'll mix in some Michigan and Michigan State. Got some Tigers to talk about. But first, Gator, we got to swing around the league with the Wad 9 Omaha 4 Down Around League Blitz thingy. That is next. Just a reminder, you can stream the show using the Odyssey app. Download it for your mobile device today, AUDACY. Also streaming through our website, 971theticket.com, where Birchie Kid and Evan do a great job with content. Stream a video. Go to twitch.tv. Bam, there we are. You can watch the video of the show. Same thing with YouTube and participate in the streaming chat. It is Carson Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Doug Carr, Scott Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Get back to some Lions stuff coming up every Thursday at this time. We swing around the NFL. It's time for the Blitz thingy. All right, Gator, you won the toss and received yesterday. I will receive today. It's an NFL version 6-pack of questions. On your mark, get set, go.
All right, guys, week 1 is behind us. What is your biggest overreaction to week 1?
You know, it's funny because my overreaction, and I realized I got to tap the brakes, was, oh my God, Minnesota might actually not suck. But they did play the Giants. So I guess my overreaction is that the Giants will go 0-17 this year. They look dreadful and lost to the team that I picked to have the first overall pick in the draft, which speaks more about, I think, Minnesota than it does, or more about the Giants than it does Minnesota. So, overreaction, the G-men go 0-17 this year.
I like it, Doug.
My overreaction is that San Francisco is even better than they were last year. No Christian McCaffrey. Hey, man, no problem. It's all right. We got Jordan Mason. He ran for 147 yards and a touchdown. Brock Purdy did his job like he always does. That defense shut down Aaron Rodgers, and I mean, come on. Who wouldn't think that? Yeah, I don't know if they're better, but it's an overreaction.
Not as good as Doug's.
Oh.
Here's mine, guys. Aaron Rodgers quits midway through the season. That's it. I mean, he's done at some point. He says, F this. I'm walking off the field in my old orthopedic shoes. I can't take this anymore. My receivers suck. The defense isn't as good as what it used to be. I'm out of here.
I got retreats to get to.
Yes, exactly. I got a trip to Egypt. I'm out.
All right, I like it.
All right, the Steelers are sticking with Justin Fields to start for week 2 against the Broncos. So we won't get that matchup of the revenge game for Wilson, unfortunately. But barring injury, do you think Wilson will ever get a starting job back in Pittsburgh?
Nope, I don't. I think Justin Fields is – I've always liked Justin Fields. I think he's good. I think he's got a ton of talent. And now he's in an environment with a coach and a culture that can help get the most out of him while he's in Pittsburgh instead of in Chicago. So I think that he's poised to kind of like Baker Mayfield, resurrect his career. I like Justin Fields.
Dude, eyes on your own paper. I said almost the exact same thing. I will add this,
Yeah, but
though.
I said it better.
You did, because you got to say it. Justin Fields is a very, very talented player that I would love to see him be wasted. That Chicago wasted him and completely blew it and made the wrong call. And as far as Russell Wilson, I believe big time in quarterback personalities being a big part of their leadership, which is, if you watch, it started to get weird in Seattle. It was really weird in Denver. And then last week, Wilson was scratched, but in full uniform. Like, what was that? That was odd. I don't know players that are inactive in full uniform. It's just, there's always something weird with him.
Yeah, I think, like, I always wonder about Wilson. Like, how could he have gotten this bad so fast? What happened? But maybe it's just his personality has gotten weirder and it's affected his football play. I agree. Make it 3 for 3, guys. I don't think Wilson gets his job back. The edge he would have had would have been throwing the ball, but I'm not so sure that's an edge anymore. And Justin Fields definitely has the edge in running the ball. And I think the fact that they like the fact that he can make plays out of nothing if they need it. And they didn't score a touchdown last week, but he kept a lot of drives alive to get him in field goal range.
And Wilson wasn't bad last year.
No, he wasn't, but it's
statistically, he was actually pretty good.
There's a disconnect between the coaches and the players in the locker room, which that doesn't bode well if you're the quarterback.
It does not.
All right, the NFL and Bengals fans have become very concerned with Joe Burrow's surgically repaired wrist. They were actually even breaking down the way he was picking up a Gatorade bottle this past Sunday. He was seen flexing it multiple times during the game. He says it's fine. He's just doing that to keep it loose. Do you believe him? Is his wrist fine?
So, yeah, I think too much is being made of the Gatorade bottle because, you know, they have Gatorade Zero, which is like the light. There's also Gatorade Heavy as Hell, which is really hard to lift up. And that's what it was. It was just a very heavy bottle of Gatorade. It was Gatorade Heavy as Hell. Yeah, I'd be really concerned if I was a Cincinnati fan, and I wouldn't be surprised if this ends his season back-to-back years.
Ooh.
Wow. The question was, do I believe him? The answer is nope. I think he's hurting, man, and I think there's part of it is commendable that a guy who's making a ton of money wants to play for his team and wants to earn that money. You don't want to sit on the sidelines and everybody question your toughness and all that. He's tough, but he's probably coming back too soon. But if doctors tell him, you can go out there and play, you're not going to hurt it any worse. I mean, it is what it is. Then I guess you go ahead and do that. But I don't think this bodes well for Cincinnati at all.
Guys, make it 3 for 3 again. I don't believe them either. I know they had no T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase didn't have a preseason, so maybe that's a reason why the passing game wasn't that good. But in the deep ball, but I think this might be a lingering issue all year long. That's not, I understand keep it loose and things like that, but that's not a good sign, right? It's surgically repaired, and he hasn't really been that good the last couple of years because of injury. He may need to take some real time off.
You know what I say? He's not going to win a Super Bowl.
All right, what 0-1 team will be just fine, and what 0-1 team is in big trouble?
I think Baltimore's fine. Okay, starting off the season against Kansas City and you lose on the road, there's no shame in that. I think once they get that thing humming along with Derrick Henry in the backfield, Lamar Jackson running at quarterback, and Lamar Jackson was dynamic again, I just think that Baltimore is going to be fine. I think the team that is in trouble, it's the Rams. Okay, losing on the road to the Lions, there's no shame in that. The problem is that they lost 2 more offensive linemen and Puka Nacua to IR. So those guys are out for at least 4 weeks. And did you see Stafford in that game? How he was gimping around and how he was just banged up? This isn't going to get any easier for him. The next 4 weeks are going to be brutal for him. He's going to get banged up more, and not going to be surprised at all if he's going to have to miss some time too.
He's young. I agree with you on Baltimore. 0-1 team. They still got Baltimore coming out of the AFC. Team I think is 0-1 is in trouble. I tried to find a team where it had expectations, not like saying Carolina, but a team that has expectations that I think is going to – you don't want to be 0-3, and Atlanta's going to be 0-3. They lose at home to Pittsburgh with their prized veteran quarterback throwing for 155 yards and 2 picks. Their next 2 games are at Philly, and then they host the Chiefs. Atlanta's going to be 0-3. They are in real trouble.
Yeah, the Ravens would be the easy answer, so I tried to go somewhere different, and you know where I'm going with this, guys. It's the Colts. I know they're 0-1, and they lost to the Texans, but Anthony Richardson, before that game, he's only had 17 starts since high school. That's an incredibly low amount of starts for a guy who's supposed to be a franchise quarterback. My point is, he showed definitely some flashes of the reason why they took him so high, because he can make so many plays out of nothing, and they barely lost that game. He has something coaches, you can't really teach. That 68-yard throw that he had, I think he's going to have a 100-yard Hail Mary throw this year at some point. That's right, bold prediction. But on the other side, the 0-1 team that's in big trouble, it's the Bengals, guys. I believe Joe Burrow's wrist, it really is hurt. They lost Joe Mixon in the offseason. They lost Jesse Bates on the defensive side, Pro Bowl safety. No T. Higgins so far. I don't know how long that hamstring injury is going to linger. And Jamar Chase is not happy. Bengals might not make the playoffs this year. All right, whose Achilles injury should be most concerning for the player itself, not necessarily the team? Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, or Christian McCaffrey?
Again, I go back to teams with expectations, and I think it's Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, that's a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, and so that I don't think the Jets. I know a lot of people had high expectations for the Jets. I thought the Jets were going to stink, and I've seen nothing that led me to believe otherwise. Kirk Cousins, again, that team. They don't have nearly the high expectations. So. What should be most concerning? It would be Christian McCaffrey's Achilles injury with the 49ers, given what he meant to that offense and what that team is hoping to accomplish this year.
Well, it's not CMC because look what they did without him. But when you look at the other quarterbacks, it's Aaron Rodgers. His mobility is a big reason for his success throughout his career, and you hurt that Achilles, and it's not that he was fast. It was that he was able to use the mobility to maneuver through the pocket, buy himself more time, and then throw it downfield. It's just not there. And the situation with that team when you had a great defense like they did last year, and that team was that close to being a playoff team with Zach Wilson at quarterback, a team that only threw 11 touchdown passes a year ago, and now you bring back the same defense and you're going to add this guy to it. It should be there, and it's not, because his Achilles is going to prevent him from being any good whatsoever.
You can make a compelling case for each of these guys, and that's why I put their names up there. And I'm going to make a case for the third guy. I'm going to make a case for the third guy, Kirk Cousins. I think the reason why is that division is weak. They should really have a chance to win that division. Unfortunately, I don't think Cousins is fully healthy. He's obviously older. Did you know that he didn't take a snap under center this past week? He's a quarterback who loves taking snaps under center. Did you know they didn't run one play action pass with Bijan Robinson? They're lining him up in the pistol and shotgun for a reason. They want this guy to get some extra time because he can't move. I think that's a big issue. We might see Michael Penix at some point because Kirk Cousins is not healthy.
That was the other thing I wanted to say about why I don't think it's Kirk Cousins, because Atlanta Falcon fans, they're probably dying to see Michael Penix anyway.
Sure, but in the end, he's still a rookie. And I know he's a 38-year-old rookie, but still, he's coming off injuries as well. All right, guys. Final one. I like to have a little fun with the last one. You have to go on a 4-hour double date with either Brittany and Patrick Mahomes or Matthew and Kelly Stafford. Who you choosing?
All right. I'm going to choose the Staffords. I am dying to see, there it is. I'm dying to see in person what his reaction is, the eye rolls and all that, when Kelly decides to become all Kelly during the 4-hour meal and the conversations, right? When she starts to do the stuff that you know is going to be annoying as hell, I want to stare right at Matt and see what he does. And because I think it'd be fascinating and wildly entertaining. Plus, I don't find him anywhere near as annoying or as cocky as Patrick Mahomes. I'm not a big Patrick Mahomes guy. I actually like Matthew Stafford, and I think he'd be kind of fun to hang out with and talk about other stuff with while, she's off doing her thing.
Yeah, I would also choose the Staffords because we got Detroit in common, and I'm sure he seems pretty salty talking about the Lions, but we could talk about the community. We could talk about Hank Winchester. I mean, we could talk about stuff that we know about. I don't know.
For 4 hours.
I got nothing with the Mahomes family. I mean,
Hank is probably going to be there anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's true. Listen here. I actually used to be a big fan of Mahomes, but I'm getting maybe Mahomes fatigue. And the voice, I don't know if I could. 4 hours of
4
the
hours
voice,
a
too.
lot.
The wife, I'm not a big fan of her. The Staffords, I'm not the biggest fan of Kelly. Matthew, I think I've soured on him since he left. I feel like, he's kind of, I've changed my view on him. I used to really like Stafford, but the way he's talked about the city and the fans since he left, as in like, I get it. He's salty. We had a new quarterback. We loving that guy. In the end, I chose to go with the Staffords as well, guys. 3 for 3 again. To me, I think Brittany Mahomes might be the most annoying out of all four, so I'm just going to stay away from her because I saw this great tweet about a week ago. It's fantastic. Someone tweeted out, I know Patrick Mahomes sits in his driveway before he goes into the house. And you know what? I'm going with the Staffords because of that, because I agree.
I think Stafford would, you could say to Matt, hey, you want to go get a couple shots of tequila at the bar? And he's like, yep. Here we go.
Wait, Hank's coming with us, right?
No, Hank will stay with Kelly.
And that concludes the Wide 9 Omaha 4 Down Around the League Blitz thingy. Hey, this year, FanDuel is giving you a chance to win big every Thursday night with FanDuel Squares. It's the same as Super Bowl Squares that you've become familiar with, and it's just better because your numbers aren't randomly assigned. You get to pick them yourself. You can pick as many as you like as well. You'll get to see the odds beforehand, and you can bet them live during the game. So what are you waiting for? Just visit FanDuel.com/Doug and bet on Squares, Thursday night Squares. Plus, if you're new to FanDuel, you get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Must be 21 or over and present in Michigan. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. get back to some football stuff coming up. Well, some NFL stuff. We were joking, Gator, a couple days ago about the 2-pack.
Right.
That the conference offices were still open.
The Pac-12 that Kang then dubbed the Pac-1-2.
Yep.
And then we came with the 2-pack. Kang came with 2-pack, which is great.
Yeah, it's the conference is just Oregon State and Washington State. The last vestiges, they were left on that ship as everybody else jumped off. We're like, I can't believe the conference still has a website. They have a Pac-12 Conference Player of the Week. I mean, and there's 2 teams. There's 2 teams. And we're like, the conference office is like a woman named Barb that just answers the phone. Apparently, Barb's been working the phones. You saw what happened today? Because
she's going to need some help.
I was envisioning the Pac-12 having their animated flyover campus map commercial with just Oregon State and Washington State. You know how the Big Ten has the animated campus? That has the animated campus. The Pac-12 version right now would be so great. Just the
get some giant apple,
Corvallis and Pullman, and it would last about 4 seconds. That would be the whole commercial. But they've worked the phones, and they're adding 4 teams from the Mountain West: Boise, Colorado State, Fresno State, and San Diego State. Interesting selections of who they took and who they passed on. Because I'm shocked that they passed on one team. Because these are always about media markets, right?
Mm-hmm. So let me think who you're talking about. You're talking media markets.
I mean, I could see grabbing Boise. Boise's great at football, and they bring some football credibility. UNLV, they passed on UNLV, and they passed on New Mexico. So you could have had Las Vegas and Albuquerque.
I don't know how big Albuquerque is.
Well, I'm guessing. Do you think it's bigger than Fresno?
Might be, but it's California, so
yeah.
I don't know if you just automatically get a whole bunch of people from California.
I can see that they didn't take San Jose State. I can see that they didn't take Air Force. I can see that they didn't take Wyoming.
I'm surprised just from name recognition they didn't try to get BYU.
So is BYU, they're in the Big 12 now.
I believe so, but it's just.
Why would BYU leave a Power 4 conference?
Well, I'm just saying to try, because.
They might have.
It just seems like it would make more sense geographically, but I guess geography's out the window here.
Because I wonder how many receipts, like are Cal and Stanford scrambling for the receipt going, wait, if it's coming back, we'd prefer not to fly across country for our rowing team to take on NC State.
Might be
Tuesday.
It might. I mean, I don't think the ACC is going to cry if Cal and Stanford decide to go back.
Can that contract be broken? Because the other thing about the Pac-6 now, the 6-pack, is that they need you need 8 to actually be a FBS conference. So the whole idea of this 2 teams, they weren't going to stay with 2 teams. They are this year, but you need 8. So you go to major independents. None of them make sense. The only 3 independents left, unless Notre Dame would join.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Did it used to be the Pac-8? Or was it
yes, it was originally the Pac. It was the Big 8 and the Pac-8. And then the Pac-8 added Arizona and Arizona State. They were the ones that made it Pac-10. But the other independents are UMass and UConn, in which case.
Stay away.
Yeah. And they don't bring anything for football. They bring a lot for basketball, I guess.
I would think that there could be some negotiating to let Cal and Stanford out of it.
Yep.
If Cal and Stanford want out of it. Now, I don't know. The deal might be too good for them to leave. That's probably a lot of money. But it certainly would make sense for them to go back and reform some sort of 6-pack or 8-pack.
This has turned into... You go to the liquor store and it's mix and match. Just make your own 6, 8-pack up, right? It doesn't matter. You talk regionality, Gator. Yeah, that's thrown out the window. Go anything in the walk-in cooler. Go ahead and grab 6, 8, whatever alcoholic beverages and call yourself a conference. It's like
kind of is.
Oh, Mickey's? Okay. What's that? High Life? All right.
How do we feel about Montana? it okay?
Montana Light? Yeah.
I mean,
I kind of wonder if one of those FCS schools would jump up.
Do they want to move up?
And I'm thinking of one of the Montanas that are pretty good, although it's no market size.
Dakotas? No Next State, something like that?
Yeah, maybe one of those. Okay, here are your market sizes of some of these Pac-12 cities. UNLV, who got left out, is the 40th biggest market. Albuquerque, who got left out, is the 49th biggest market. Fresno, that got in, is the 52nd biggest market. Unless Boise's way bigger than I know. I mean, Boise's got name recognition, and they bring some football credibility.
They bring a lot of football credibility.
But, they passed on some relatively big markets relative to what they took. So, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, maybe they're not done rating the Mountain West. But we kind of joked about the Mountain West jumping over. Here's the other thing, too, is we got a Thursday night football game tonight. And it's one of the reasons why you keep your mind open and things can change. I find, Gator, that when Thursday night NFL games were first introduced, that it was going to be every week, we hated them. Now, given the games weren't as good, I'm looking forward to tonight's game, and I've been looking forward to the Thursday night games. It started last year where I really started getting into them, and tonight's Buffalo at Miami, which is a decent game.
Well, I think the NFL had to step it up. If they wanted to get top dollar from the advertisers and from the networks, they had to step up because the Thursday night game was always a dreadful game.
It was half of them were Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And back when Jacksonville was terrible.
Yeah. So it makes sense that they step it up, get more money out of it. And yeah, they are better games. I'm still not loving Thursday night football. And I guess, now it won't matter tonight because the Tigers are playing this afternoon, but with baseball still going on and, I like to have something else. I know some people are just diehard football. King's diehard NFL. He loves the NFL.
So you still don't love it.
I still don't love it. I like it. I don't love it.
Well, there's an intriguing college game on. Arizona State at Texas State, and Texas State is favored.
Yeah, they put points up.
Yep. And the other thing you're seeing is, again, I'll try and figure out which one of these group of 5 teams is going to give you problems. You almost look at, okay, where did their transfers come from?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's playing for them? But 248-539-9797.
I think they have a transfer from Michigan State who was a transfer from Texas A&M. Guy who had Ayadel or whatever his last name is.
You're talking about
Tamis?
You're talking about Texas State does?
I think so. A defensive lineman?
Not
Tamis Ayadel or something.
Tamir Jackson. No. Oh, there's Tamis Adelele.
That's it.
Okay. You know who else has a transfer from Michigan State and is their leading tackler? Arkansas State. The Willikis younger brother is their leading tackler.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah. 248-539-9797. If you have any Arkansas State questions, this is the week. Right. Chris in Bloomfield, you're on 97.1 The Ticket. Hi, Chris.
Hey, yeah, I'm a rowing coach locally, and you mentioned rowing and flying across the country and everything. I really don't know anything about all those other small sports, but like the rowing scheduling and the racing schedule it hasn't changed since rowing became an NCAA sport. They just do whatever suits them, basically.
Well, I'll use a different non-rev.
Championships.
I'll use a different non-rev as an example next time.
Yeah, I don't know. Just as a little comment.
Thanks for clarifying.
Crew getting on your case.
Crew wants to represent. Don't misrepresent what the crew schedule looks like.
Don't upset the.
All right, what do I do next? The pistol shooting. The pistol shooting team doesn't have to travel from Palo Alto to Tallahassee for a conference game.
Hope not.
No. 248-539-9797. All right. We'll get back to some NFL stuff next hour. Tigers a little bit later on. Don't forget Tiger baseball coming up today at 1:10 as they try and gain another half game on the Twins as they close out this series, maybe with a sweep against the Rockies here on 97.1 The Ticket.
Brought to you by Twin Peaks. The Tigers keeping up, but also quickly running out of games. The wildcard deficit is still 3 games, and they do not hold the tiebreaker against the Twins. 16 to go. As they prepare for a finale against the Rockies this afternoon, manager AJ Hinch jumped on the ticket this morning, saying that they're not feeling any pressure like fans and media may be. Yeah, Hinch also said that they aren't going to divert plans due to who their opponent is. For example, Tarek Skubal's rest is going to stay the same. He's on the mound today, seeking his 17th victory, trying to earn the Tigers' 5th win in a row. The Twins off today, so they can make up a half game with this sweep. Also, Bally broadcasters Kirk Gibson and Jason Benetti said they bought 100 tickets, first come, first serve for kids at the park today if they're off school. Starting right now at 11, they can be claimed at window 16 at Comerica Park. And fans watching the Lions on Fox this Sunday will not hear Tom Brady on the broadcast. He and Kevin Burkhardt are working the Cowboys-Saints game. It'll be Kevin Kugler and Daryl Johnson doing Tampa and Detroit. From the Corewell Health Sports Desk, I'm Chris Villar. For more, go to 97.1 The Ticket and Odyssey.com.
You know how every once in a while I see an amazing stat from ESPN Stats Inc.?
Yes, every once in a while you see an amazing stat from Stats Inc.
Yes. I think we have an amazing stat from Gator Inc. I think you came up with one.
Okay.
The Detroit Lions' first 3 games against Matthew Stafford and the Rams, against Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers, against Kyler Murray of the Arizona Cardinals.
With Jared Goff and the Lions, yes.
This is a question. I wish we could say this is a stat, but I wonder if this has ever happened before. That is number 1 overall pick versus number 1 overall pick for 3 straight weeks.
Boom!
Thank you, Keg.
Thank you, Greg.
So that is, right? Stafford, number 1 overall pick in 2009 versus Jared Goff, number 1 overall pick in 2017. Baker was the number 1 overall pick in 2018 versus Jared Goff 2017. Kyler Murray, number 1 overall pick in 2019 versus Jared Goff 2017. They will play 3 more number 1 overall picks. 3 more games against number 1 overall picks. And they are
Trevor Lawrence, who was the number 1 overall pick in 2021, and Caleb Williams, who was the number 1 pick in 2024, and Caleb Williams. Yes.
Yeah, who was the number 1 overall pick. So, I mean, I don't know what the record is, but certainly 3 weeks in a row to open up the season. There you go. Gator Stats Inc. suggests that this is happening. I'm not going to say it's never happened before. It just suggests that
well, it's just going to be more common because quarterbacks are going number 1 like every year now, right?
Yep.
But Doug, would you say this is safe to assume Gator has a thing with number 1 overall picks? Like, I think your radar is always up with number 1 overall pick guys.
Gator is?
Yeah. Do you think that's true?
I think it might be true. It might be true.
I would disagree with that, but okay.
I'm
willing to listen.
Well, you've asked Goff multiple times to think about it, playing against a former number 1 overall pick guy.
You have.
And you bring up the Pistons always have like all these number 1 overall picks on their team.
Well, that to me was just an anomaly. With the Pistons, it seemed like...
I'm just saying, you notice these things,
You notice
man.
number 1 overall pick
Yeah.
guys.
You know what? Because I remember who a number 1 overall pick could be.
He doesn't remember any of the rest of it.
No, not so much the rest of it, but the number 1s. No, but I think I would agree with you with the basketball thing. That I just thought was such a weird statistical anomalation where the Pistons were just collecting former number 1 overall picks.
Yeah.
It just felt that way. And then you start to do the research and like, oh my God, this guy played for the Pistons. This guy played for the Pistons. This guy played for the Pistons. And it just went like that. But I don't.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I don't think I'm definitely not conscious about it, I guess. So if you're pointing that out, now I'm going to be self-conscious about it.
Something to keep an eye on. 248.
I'm just going to bite my tongue. You know, Casey Mize pitched last night.
Who did he throw the ball over to at first base?
Torkelson was. Hey, lean into it, man. Make it a big part of your personality. You be known as number 1 overall pick, dude.
Good.
I'm going to get
that's
Gator
something to
a
strive for.
T-shirt that says 1.1.
Let's go to John on a cell. You're on 97.1 The Ticket. Hi, John.
Hello.
Hey.
I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. I love you guys.
Thank you.
My hot take is that Jamison Williams will be wide receiver 1 by the end of the year. What do you think of that?
So you think he'll be the Lions? He'll supplant Amon-Ra as their number 1 go-to guy.
Yeah, I do think that, and I think his ceiling is way higher than Amon-Ra's.
So what is it? Is it? I mean, have you always believed this? Or is there something you saw in week 1 or?
No, I just got that feeling, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like his ceiling's higher.
Okay. I mean, it could be. I'm not, this is one of those deals where as long as they're winning, it doesn't really matter. And as long as Amon-Ra, I think Amon-Ra will be a good soldier as long as he's a big part of the offense.
He's getting paid $30 million a year.
Yeah.
I think he's getting paid like he's number 1.
Yep. But could J-Mo be their number 1 wide receiver by the end of the year? I would still bet against it, but as you said, that's your hot take.
It's one game into the season, and he was targeted more than St. Brown was. I think that's going to change, and it's going to change dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that Jamison Williams isn't poised to have an amazing year or a breakout year. I mean, after 1 week, he's 4th in the NFL in receiving yardage. We see what's great about him, and we've been waiting to see this for a long time. His speed kills.
Yep.
And you watch that route he ran with that little stutter step double move type thing, and how much space he was able to create after that. Like that's ability that few guys have in the league. He's one of those guys. It's a Tyreek Hill type thing, and it's awesome to see that it belongs to a Detroit Lion.
He's going to have an opportunity to have a major impact on this season.
Yes.
And his development is a big part of this team going forward. And what is this team's ceiling offensively? Here's the question. Can he be wide receiver 1 and Amon-Ra see no dip in production? Because in week 1, it was a dip in production. But can Amon-Ra go out and have the same kind of season he had last year and still be second to Jamison Williams?
No.
It'd be hard to believe. It would basically imply to me that there really is no third wide receiver.
Well, I think the Lions are going to run the ball more than they did last year. And Jamison Williams had a great first game of the season. I don't think he's going to get targeted 9 times in a game or whatever it was and get 121 yards. He's capable of doing that because we saw it, and he's a big play waiting to happen. But I feel like he's that big play waiting to happen, and they go to it 4 or 5 times a game, whereas St. Brown is that's steady Eddie, man. That's what you're going to look at him probably closer to 10 times a game. Throw the first week out, it was just a different game. But I think typically you would see St. Brown getting a lot more targets than that, and he'll get his yards, he'll get his receptions, he'll get his touchdowns. But Jamison Williams is going to too. I just don't think it'll be at the frequency that we see it for St. Brown.
All of this is dependent upon opportunity, right? It all starts with opportunity. You have to create your own opportunities. You have to be worthy of the opportunities. And then those manifest itself. When you are creating your opportunities and doing what you're supposed to do, it manifests itself in targets, right? So you get to the targets, and it's so funny to look. I just said, okay, let's see where he ranks in targets in the NFL. Week 1, there were like 6 guys that all had 9 targets. J-Mo was one of them. And then there were 3 guys with 10 targets. A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Zay Flowers. Then there were 2 guys with 11 targets, Keenan Allen and Garrett Wilson. And then there were 4 guys with 12 targets, Tyreek Hill, Cortland Sutton, Isaiah Likely, and Wan'Dale Robinson. And then there was 1 guy with 21 targets.
That's insane.
Cooper Kupp had 21 targets, and I know we talked about it briefly or during the week, but he is on a pace, Gator. After 1 week, Cooper Kupp is on pace to have 357 targets this year.
Yeah, but how many receptions?
Well, that would be
about 2/3.
238.
Yeah. Is that a record?
21 targets.
That should have been someone's overreaction to week 1. That he would have.
Cooper Kupp will catch over 200 passes this year.
Will be targeted 357 times.
Cooper Kupp's the first receiver in NFL history to have his hands fall off, literally fall off the bone after 14 games.
Do you know what the record is for targets in a game?
In a game?
Yep.
It can't be much more than 21. I don't know, 25?
It is Brandon Marshall, who had 28 targets versus the Colts on December 13 of 2009.
Yeah, didn't he have a 20-catch game?
21 catches.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dang.
There, as far as Cooper Kupp, that was 9th on the all-time list. Marshall had 28. Chris Chambers had a 26-target game. Antonio Brown and Jason Witten and Roddy White, 23. DeAndre Hopkins and Vincent Jackson had 22.
I know receivers always want the ball, but do you think at some point he goes, dude, stop throwing to me? I'm getting tired, man.
Well, the thing is, when the ball gets thrown to you, you also get hit a lot. Dad needs a break. Stop. Just stop.
Hilarious. 248-539-9797. All right, Gator, something we talked about yesterday on the show actually ended up on the local news last night. We will get to that at 11:18 here on Carson Anderson, 97.1. Sarah Chevrolet in Sterling Heights is ready to celebrate football fall and the best deals of all. Right now, you can lease a new 2024 Silverado for just $319 a month with only $19.99 down. You heard it right, $319 a month for 24 months on a 1500 crew cab 4x4 2FL. Unlock the savings with a GM employee discount and Chevy lease in your household. Don't forget Sarah Chevrolet is your number 1 volume Chevy dealer in Michigan. Call 87-SAY-SARAH. Go to saysarah.com. See dealer for details and get there fast. All offers end September 30th. Together, let's drive. Getting a lot of feedback on Cooper Kupp's 21 targets, which we have really not talked about all that much. We mentioned it. It was pretty incredible. But now in retrospect, to look at the top targeted games of all time, it's a pace to have 357 targets this year.
He's got the extra game.
Yeah.
We got some text. This one's from Will. Who's more exhausted, Cooper Kupp or Gators outfielders from 2 years ago in the softball game?
There you go.
No question, the softball players.
Another text here. Cooper Kupp is coming out with a book called Stop Throwing Me the Damn Ball. From Chad.
Oh, that's great. All right, so yesterday, Gator was on the Next Door Neighbor app, in which we find interesting stories.
Mm-hmm.
And he found one about somebody's Ring doorbell video camera system where a couple had pulled into the driveway, a private driveway.
Somebody else's house.
And now that
And we're getting busy in front of the basketball hoop, which happens to be right by the son's bedroom window, and the kid was waiting for a toy delivery. So he went and looked at the video.
And what he saw was a couple
getting after it,
having the intercourse in their driveway. The story ended up on Fox 2 last night. Here's Jessica Dupnack.
No, the only thing was open.
He was at school.
No, I don't want to make too many jokes about this. Kid's 13. I don't think he's that disturbed by it. I don't think he's scarred.
Bravo to Jessica Dupnack, though, for some of the wording, not the package he was expecting.
No.
They backed in the rental car, that is.
Booty's out.
Yeah.
She's going to have to join Karen Drew, I think, hey? We're going to have to clip that.
Got it clipped.
There we go.
The woman with the wicked thigh tat.
Wicked thigh tattoo.
Some top level local news writing there.
Well done.
Yes.
Well done.
There's
Thank you, Karen.
Drew. Yeah.
Did you see it, Gator, at all this news report?
I did not. I did not see it.
They show. I mean, it's blurred out, but they show the people getting out of the car. It's way worse than I thought. I thought they were in the back seat.
Yeah, they had nothing to do with the car. The car, basically, they opened up.
They
opened up the back door of the car.
The rear?
The rear
passenger door
of the car.
The back door was open.
And the woman had her feet on the ground, leaning into the back seat of the car.
Trying to get something out of the back seat?
She was trying to get something, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, she got something.
Well, the man.
Supervised?
He was making.
Directed?
Took a position to.
Look over her shoulder?
To help her look for something. It's a mistake. It was their pants were down. It was a mistake. They were just looking for something.
Now, I'm not casting any aspersions here. I'm not drawing any conclusions. I'm just asking a question here. In Jessica's report, did she sound impressed it was 60 seconds?
Kind of. She kind of did.
Okay.
Are we? Is there an implication there?
I don't know.
Are you making an implication?
I'm just saying, if 60 seconds is impressive. All right.
The funny thing is, a car.
You're welcome.
A truck. There was like a delivery truck actually pulled up while they were in the act. But not to that driveway, but it kind of pulled up and stopped. You can see it in the ring, in the background. It's really something else.
That was something else.
It is something else.
Yeah.
So
And like I said yesterday when I was reading the story, that I don't think they're going to be hard to find.
So that you can see the license plate. It was a rental car.
Yeah,
so you can track it back. You know what day?
Shouldn't be too hard.
No.
Sorry, shouldn't be too difficult to to discover who rented the car.
To connect some dots here.
Yeah.
Yep. Follow the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All they said was no smoking in the car, right?
And technically, were they in the car?
I know, right?
They technically really, I would say not. Everybody's feet were on the driveway.
Yeah. 4 feet down, you know.
Right next to the pole that the basketball.
The hoop.
It was on a pole right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, that is the latest, according to Fox 2.
Gonna need more mulch.
This is part of the walk around when you rent the car. You know, you have to walk around and look for marks.
Trying to sell that house now. You know. And this is the basketball hoop. It comes. Wait a minute. I think I've seen this. No, nothing to see here. Nothing. Get rid of the hoop. Get rid of the hoop. Is that a value add?
You have to unmount the basketball hoop.
Dismount it?
Yeah. That's right there in the driveway. Parked. The car's parked.
You think the 13-year-old and his friends were like, we gotta come over and see this driveway?
Oh,
like,
dude,
is this, the crime scene here.
I think if
we're gonna have copycat crimes.
I mean, that kid's got that video is absolutely clipped and saved like nobody's business.
If the car's parked right under the hoop, which it was, right? And they're both standing there for a minute.
It's kind of like right in front of it.
That's 3 seconds.
Yeah, it
was 60.
Yeah, exactly. It was 20 violations.
Yeah.
That's clearly 3 seconds. Oh, man. Well, thank you, Jessica, and thank you, Fox 2, for the follow-up story. That is the very latest.
It's not a block shot, as far as we know.
Something that I saw, I got to give the Lions social media team a ton of credit. They tweeted out a picture of David Montgomery today, and they gave him a title. CEO of Angry Runs. And I'm like, it's not an easy nickname it's not like you call him that during the game. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like one of those old Sports Illustrated posters you could get, which had like nicknames on them. Calling David Montgomery the CEO of Angry Runs is awesome. I give them a ton of credit.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So
I like it. I like it a lot.
Very good game one. Very good finish to game one. Lions taking on Tampa this weekend. Hey, got a question we tweeted out for everybody, and this applies to Lions fans, to Michigan fans, and to Michigan State fans. Complete the following sentence. We haven't seen it yet, but I still expect big things from ... Finish the sentence. And I will say Amon-Ra is not an answer. We've seen it in a Lions uniform. Donovan Edwards is not an answer. We've seen it in a Michigan uniform. So we're talking about people that you still expect big things from this year, even though we haven't seen it. Like after week 1 for Michigan State, Gator would have said Nick Marsh, and he would have been correct. So we haven't seen it yet, but I still expect big things from ... Answer that question. We'll take your phone calls and ticket text, 248-539-9797. Let's get back to the open line calls. We got a Bob on a cell. You're on 97.1 a ticket. Hi, Bob.
Hey, good morning, guys.
What's up?
And we're on our way to our 95th game this year, Samantha and myself.
Wow.
And I'm going to make an argument that it's only sort of correct. It's a little outrageous.
All right.
I believe one could argue that the most valuable player on this Tiger team is Tyler Holton. Even more so than Scooble, even more so than Green. And I'm not saying it's a winning argument necessarily, but he has been a major factor in probably at least 30 wins. And I think to myself that Baltimore made that trade with, I was at Miami at Tampa for a starting pitcher who's now in the minors. They traded Mayo away. It was a disaster. Imagine if Baltimore had instead gotten Tyler Holton. What a weapon he is.
You know what? You're right. He's like you said, it's not a winning argument, but you can make him as the most underappreciated Tiger. His walks and hits per innings pitched is well below 1. He has been used all over the place. and he's pitched in 59 games this year.
Yeah, and he pitched in 59 games last year. You know, it's remarkable the consistency. Last year's ERA was actually better. It was 2.11. This year it's 2.23. Last year the whip was 0.87. This year it's 0.79. I mean, the innings pitched 85.1 last year, 84.2 this year. He will obviously surpass the numbers that he did last year in terms of innings pitched and games played. And it's a good call. Tyler, he's been amazing.
Yep.
He's been everything for the Tigers. Need him to start, be an opener. There he is. He's there for you.
He started 7 games this year.
I mean, they
The
put him
over-under was 0.
They put him in a game last night in the 5th inning because Casey Mize was struggling, right? And Casey Mize comes out with 2 outs in the 5th inning, and he's pissed because he wants to get the 5 innings because he knows I've got a lead still. I can get a W, and it's not going to happen. And he's probably more pissed at how he pitched. Comes off, and here comes Tyler Holton, just gets the job done, gets out of the inning, and then goes out and pitches another couple innings. He's incredible what he can do and how valuable he is for this team, whether it's starting, middle relief, setup, or closing. He has done it all for the Tigers.
248-539-9797. We'll continue with the open line calls and feedback. Next hour, here are the best that A.J. Hinch told the morning show here on 97.1 The Ticket. Doug Carr, Scott Anderson, 97.1 a ticket. 248-539-9797. We got open lines. Get back to some Tiger talk coming up next hour. Man, that team, they just keep winning. Will they ever lose again? Of course they will, but I seriously last night was like, all right, let's take a look. All right, playoff matchups, if they get in. Who do I not want to face in the World Series? I know it's ridiculous. Part of that was that ESPN triple play or squeeze play or whatever the hell they were calling their whip around broadcast where they went from game to game to game, where, you know, I'm paying close attention. Kansas City and the Yankees. And I'm like, go Yankees. But I meant it. I authentically meant it. And rooting for the Angels over the Twins. They had a 2-1 lead, didn't. 1-0 lead, then 2-1 lead, didn't hold up. In the meantime, we asked that question. We asked people on Twitter to finish the sentence. And Gator, you got one here, and we'll get to it in a minute. But it was we haven't seen it yet, but I'm still expecting big things from. This applies to Michigan, Michigan State, and the Detroit Lions. Here are some of the answers that came in via Twitter. From Raymond, we haven't seen it yet, but I'm still expecting big things from Aaron Glenn. The defense is just getting started. And despite the lack of sacks, I love the style of play of the defensive line and even the corners. By the end of the season, I expect the Lions defense will be top 10 overall. From Beam Magic 18, I expect big things from Jack Campbell and Sione Vaki for the Lions. From James Vader, Jack Campbell, I know he started 12 games last season. I still feel he will get better and better, starting with a full season. I was extremely happy when we drafted him. Kid has multiple Pro Bowls in his future. From TV Nefarious, Sione Vaki. From Sleeved Up, Terrion Arnold, solid debut, but feels like he will only get better. From Ski, Dan Campbell, even better. Applebee's commercials are on the way. A new one was released today. It's good. I think the second one's the best. But
I would agree with you.
He's probably going to end up doing 50 of these things. Gator, who would you answer?
Well, I actually have one for each team.
Okay.
For the Lions, I would say DJ Reader because we haven't seen him. When Dan Campbell was asked about it this week with the morning show, and Jim Costa said, and we expect to see DJ Reader contributing this week, and Dan Campbell's response was, oh, yeah. So it was like you could almost hear the smile on his face and he's a little giddy about having a big fella back in the middle of that defense, and I think that's going to be really good for the Lions. For Michigan State, it's tight end Jack Velling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see it. Let's go. Use the tight end already. It's 2 games into the season. I like it. They're 2-0, Michigan State, and they're a 40-point favorite this week. But Jack Velling was the guy who was, all Pac-12. Let's see what he can do here. He was the guy that came over from Oregon State along with the Aiden Childs and the coach and a couple other guys, and this was supposed to help get the offense going. And so far through 2 games, he hasn't been there, but I would expect that he will be. And for Michigan, this one's going to be a little bit of a wild card. And you could shoot it down, and because I trust you, because you're close to the team and Jack Tuttle. I don't think they have their quarterback yet. And Tuttle just got back to practice. He's the guy who's got experience playing in the Big Ten. And if things are going awry with what they have right now, with Davis Warren's not getting it done and Orji is limited what he can do, is Jack Tuttle going to be the steadying influence?
Well, I will tell you that I think that as they have documented their offensive problems and tried to assess what has to get better, I think that they feel that Davis Warren's play is down the list a little bit. If Davis Warren isn't getting the bulk of the snaps, it's because somebody has just really elevated their game. Or he's taken steps backwards. I think they still have faith for now, but they aren't happy. Don't get me wrong; they aren't happy with the offensive output, but they don't put it all on quarterback play. I'll give you a Michigan one. I haven't seen it yet, but I still expect big things from Amarion Walker, and it's a little bit out of seeking for a playmaker on the outside. He's just a big, fast target that is still getting used to being back in the wide receiving room. And that's why it's always difficult for freshmen to make an impact, and always impressive when they do. but he's been around college football, but he's bounced from position to position, and now he's back at wide receiver. So I'd put that in there, although Fred Moore maybe a little as a wide receiver, feels like if Fred Moore could be making a bigger impact. Some of the feedback that we've had come in, I fully expect Jack Velling to become a primary target for the Spartans. That's from an unnamed texter. Haven't seen it yet, but I'm still expecting big things from Jack Campbell. That's from Doug in Detroit. Do you think that's somebody pretending they're me? Probably.
No, I don't. I think we're
but he's
still waiting.
No, but he signed it Doug, so you think he's just saying he's
then
pretending
yes.
he's me sending it.
100%. That or all Dougs think alike.
Yeah.
Which is entirely possible.
It is. In fact, it seems likely. I haven't seen it yet, but I still expect big things from Craig Reynolds. That's from an unnamed texter.
Huh.
Yep. Kang, is your easy answer Sione Vaki?
No, I mean, I'll go with Jack Campbell as well, Doug. And this is not, so you don't have to say it again. No, but he's got the opportunity this year. I think that last year was a big year for him to learn under Alex Anzalone. I mean, you see Anzalone, my God. I mean, he is like hair on fire type linebacker. I didn't know it existed when we got him. And I think Jack Campbell's got all the athletic ability to do that. I think he's just got to learn where to be position-wise, things like that. So I still think he's going to have a really good year.
You know what's funny is I thought that Jared Goff, when we talked to him this week and you asked him the question about big wide receiver, and he immediately said Tim Patrick.
Yeah.
I was surprised when he said a name that's on the practice squad. Tim Patrick's been here for a bit. He's practiced with Jared. He must be doing well.
Well, he mentioned Allen Robinson, too,
He did.
quickly. I mean, both of those guys are boom, boom,
Yeah.
even though neither played in the first week because neither was suited up. But that was interesting, as if a little foreshadowing that at some point these guys are going to play. And they will at some point because injuries are part of the game and guys are going to, get hurt and not be able to play.
Well, yeah, so I would say Tim Patrick might be a sleeper to this question. We haven't seen it yet, but I still expect big things from him. And as far as the nickname, that Lions, their Twitter account tweeted out a picture of David Montgomery dubbing him the CEO of explosive runs. We've gotten a lot of this. Angry runs. Yeah. I don't know about Montgomery's title of angry runs. Sounds too much like explosive diarrhea, right?
It does. I think, Aaron Rodgers might challenge him for that.
So,
although anytime you use the word angry, it's going to be good.
Yeah. In terms of football terms?
I think so.
Yeah.
Just kind of.
That was my Isaiah Pacheco description. He runs like he's angry at the ground. He still does.
I mean, still one of the best nicknames of all time, though, is the little ball of hate for Pat Verbeek, the former Red Wing and Hartford Whaler.
248-539-9797. It's Carson Anderson, Open Lines, 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, if you got a leaky foundation that's putting your home at risk, it's time to call Brickworks Property Restoration. They'll assess your foundation, pinpoint the source of the problem, and give you a custom solution to keep your home dry and safe. I get it. Unexpected repairs can be a hassle. Brickworks makes it easier with 0% financing for 12 months or low monthly payments to fit just about any budget. They are locally owned and operated. Don't wait. Visit brickworksmi.com today for a free quote. That's brickworksmi.com. Your experts in foundation repair, brick restoration, tuck pointing, chimney services, and more, because nobody works like Brickworks. Doug Harsh, Scott Anderson, 97 won the ticket. So, Gator, I'm always trying to be open-minded. I am.
Okay.
Yep. Because I keep thinking about, my beliefs in sports, but I have to reevaluate. I used to believe defense wins championships. In the NFL now, I fully believe it's offense. It's elite offenses that win championships. It's good to have a great defense, and a defense helps you. But if I were building a team, I'd go offense first and primarily try to build the offense and then build a defense that can get by, respectable defense. Respectable defenses win championships.
Can I challenge you that with a question?
Sure.
If you're building a team right now,
Mm-hmm.
okay, obviously quarterback is what you start with, but beyond that, the next position player
would be Jack Campbell.
There it is,
sorry.
but that's defense. No. Would you go with Sauce Gardner or Justin Jefferson?
Justin Jefferson.
Interesting.
Yep.
Because my brain is still, I get it, and I do agree. I think offense has surpassed defense, and that's where it's at. But yet, when it comes to if I'm going to field a team, it feels like to me that the elite corner is so hard to find, and elite wide receivers like fall off trees.
Well, look, it would.
And yet, I don't think you're wrong in saying that that's what you would do.
I want an elite passing game. And so at some point, maybe you don't have an elite wide receiver, but you have to have enough. Depends how good or bad your quarterback is. But anyway, so ESPN put out a story, and the reason I bring this up, I have this belief that you don't need to be a mobile quarterback. It's a nice thing, and I'm okay. Like, I'm not mad at you if you can run. I don't avoid but out of my list of criteria, it's probably like 5th or 6th. But there's a story about the NFL and the running quarterback and the proliferation of the running quarterback. And so I'm reading this, and it's the average, and it throws out an interesting statistic about the average amount of yards per completion, the average amount of yards per run, and the average amount of yards per scramble. And the most effective of those plays is not a completed pass, and it's not a running back run, it's a scramble. The average amount of yards on a quarterback scramble is greater than the average amount of yards on the average completed pass in the NFL. So, the premise is the scramble, like just basically winging it, the quarterback takes off, the most effective play in the NFL. And you have to be good at the other things to make the scramble even a threat, right? Because you're guarding against other things, and then the scramble becomes the best available option. And so I'm reading about this, and I read something that blew my mind. I did not know this. And in the world of what goes around comes around, and now that there's a running quarterback, in 1976,
okay,
Lou Holtz took over the New York Jets. You know what kind of offense he installed?
Did he go with a wishbone?
He went with the option. He was running an option offense in the NFL. Do you ever see a day, now that we have basically licensed quarterbacks to run more, that some team says, F it, we're putting the option in, and that they run it regularly? Because I think every once in a while, a team will break it out. But could you imagine a team that wants to run the option?
As an offense, no.
Yep.
As a play, once a game or once every few games, when you see it, I love it because it harkens back to college football of yesteryear, and it was a lot of fun to watch that stuff. But it doesn't work in the NFL because teams are too quick.
Mm-hmm.
Defenses are too sophisticated. They're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe trick. And when you do see it and it works, it's awesome. And now it's almost used like it's misdirection. It's like fake the reverse, pitch it, and that's the option. Or it's I guess you might see it more often if you have somebody like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. But it just got me kind of like thinking about and Lou Holtz went 3-11 and was off to, I think he went to Minnesota. I think he just had success at NC State, but it just got me thinking about a team regularly running the option, which I think every once in a while breaks itself out. Whenever it does in the NFL, like people go, whoa, run an old school option. But, so I'm going to finish this and I'm going to think about my whole running quarterback philosophy. I just think it's kind of an overrated trait.
Well, I don't know if it's overrated necessarily. Well, I guess I would say I agree. It's a little overrated, but I think having a mobile quarterback, which is different than having a running quarterback, I think having the mobility to maneuver through the pocket to buy yourself more time, that is not overrated. I think that might even be underrated, because that separates, that allows you to buy that extra time, and to the point of offense better than defense, giving wide receivers a little bit more time to get open, they'll get open.
Well, the ability to keep your head downfield, move around in the pocket, and not tuck the ball under. Like to be able to, because when quarterbacks tuck it, it's over usually. But if you can keep the ball ready to throw, pull the trigger at any time while you're moving around in the pocket and watching your receivers, and not everybody can do that. And that to me that's not predicated on speed either. That's a lot of smarts. It's knowing where the rush is coming from. You got to be brave as hell. But anyway, it's got me thinking. The other thing is, we talked about this a while ago, Gator, and it's been a while. And here's the follow-up. Back in March, we did a series of Would You Buy for a Mega Millions jackpot.
Yeah.
And it was the fifth highest of all time, a $1.13 billion prize.
From when we did this before.
Yeah, when we talked
about it. They just won $800 million in Texas or something.
Yeah. But back 6 months ago, we were doing Would You Buy as the jackpot of Mega Millions went up and up and up, and it finally got to $1.13 billion, which was, like I said, the fifth largest of all time. The winner, somebody bought a ticket from the Neptune liquor store on the Jersey Shore. And we talked about it at the time.
Probably made a snooky joke.
That ticket is still unclaimed 6 months later. And no intel coming in. There's no way somebody lost this ticket, is there? Oh, God. Because seriously, this is the kind of thing that when you pass away and go to the Netherlands and you look back at your life and they tell you, hey, by the way, you bought a lottery ticket that hit that won $1 billion, but you never collected. I mean, and I don't think they'd tell you that in heaven. They'd only tell you that if you went to hell, right? In heaven, you probably wouldn't want to know. If you go to hell, they'd lead with.
Yeah, this is not I think this is not looking good. 6 months is just too long. I hope it's what you said, though, Gator. They're just getting their affairs in order. But would you rather know this, or would you rather know the most disgusting thing you ever ate?
The most disgusting thing I ever ate.
Yeah, over this?
Yeah, this is why I don't buy tickets. In case I win and lose the ticket.
Oh, God.
I still haven't looked at my tickets from, was it Friday when they had the drawing?
Mm-hmm.
And I know
it was
that
this
I didn't,
week. Yeah,
but I know I didn't win because it got bigger, went to $800 million. But I still haven't looked to see if I won
anything on Friday.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at it yet.
Yep. If nobody claims the $1.1 billion, it gets split between the 46 states that have the Mega Millions and goes towards public works. So the one-time cash payout is $537.5 million.
And then you'd pay taxes on that. So 2/3 of that, roughly.
Yep. So there you go.
Which is, $300 and something million.
Mm-hmm.
Cash.
I believe you
Tax-free.
can collect anonymously in New Jersey too. So that makes it even less likely that they're getting their affairs in order, because if you can collect anonymously, you're good.
I really wish that was a rule everywhere.
That you could collect anonymously.
Why is it different?
I don't know.
I almost feel like just be one uniform rule at least.
Why do you want that person to be targeted?
I feel like I would change my name and only show up in a disguise. I wouldn't want people to know.
Would you wear a wig?
Yes.
What color?
I'd just go with a brown wig, Gator.
Just brown?
Maybe some bangs.
And grow the bangs out now.
Yeah.
Maybe show up with a beard. No one will expect you with a beard.
Yeah,
it's too itchy. You wouldn't do
itchy.
it, right? It's
Yeah.
like that. That's not
That's why the person's growing a beard, and they've taken 6 months. They're like you, Gator. It takes a long time. They want to collect
6 months to grow a beard for this guy.
Well, you take as long as you need if you want to collect it.
Well,
nobody
only 1
recognizes.
year, I think, is the limit, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll keep you updated on that story. All right. Tigers afternoon game against Colorado. AJ Hinch joined the morning show. Hear the best of what he had to say to the guys next here on 97.1 The Ticket. Gator, the Tigers might have the American League Manager of the Year. Do you think they have to make the playoffs for him to get that award?
Yes.
Okay. And at this point, I mean, another day passes, another impressive win, and unfortunately, damn it, so did the Twins.
It's okay. Just keep winning.
Yeah.
Just do what you can do. And Kansas City lost.
Yep.
You can reel them in too. But I saw something a few days ago that had like kind of a preview of postseason awards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to the American League Manager of the Year, that Hinch wasn't mentioned in the top. I think he went 5 deep, and he wasn't mentioned. I'm like, how was he not even there?
That's kind of funny.
I think it's a little strange.
I'm not going to get that mad about it. Let's wait to see how the season finishes, because if it's one of those deals that if they make the playoffs and he doesn't win American League Manager of the Year, then something's wrong. But then again, I don't individual awards. I save my anger for other things. But all right, let's get to this. On the morning show, he was asked about the sense of urgency, and he kind of mentioned himself. My sound bites are boring. We really are one game at a time, but it's this delicate balance. According to him, it's a delicate balance between playing with a sense of urgency while not applying any more pressure on your young team. Here's what he had to say about it. So he also kind of applied that when pushed about moving Tarek Skubal, how seriously he got about moving Tarek Skubal up. And he said, look, we're not changing anything. What we're doing is working. It's why we're keeping the train on the tracks. A.J. Hinch was a psychology major at Stanford. And I think, there's something to be said for his approach here. You can disagree with it, and some people do. And that includes moving Skubal, changing Skubal's. They've been getting him an extra day's rest. They could take that extra day away. He's like, everything else is working. So I don't want to mess with it. How do you feel about it?
I mean, I get it. It's he's been there before, which is really kind of comforting to me as a Tiger fan.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I trust what he's doing. It's not just because this team has gotten better, but he's got the track record of doing it. And I know people they're going to be skeptical about it, and they could be smarmy about it with the whole, banging the drum stuff or whatever, they're banging the garbage cans when Houston eventually won the World Series. But he's been part of a team that is built up year to year, and it's what they're doing now. They won 77 games a year ago. Now they got 75 wins right now, and there's 16 games left. And we had our season predictions, and we thought, oh, you know what, they'll build off that, but maybe it might be like 500. They got a chance to be much better than that. And with him having been there and done that before, I trust what he's going to do. I trust how he's handling the pitching staff, because I don't know if anybody else could handle a pitching staff like he has. And yeah, he's got people to work with him. I don't want to take credit away from Feder either. I mean, the whole staff, the pitchers themselves and the coaches, they've all done an amazing job. That I don't know if we've seen anything like this, where they have literally 3 TBD starters in out of every 5 games. I mean, it's still like that. Fortunately, it's going to change. Or hopefully it changes if there's going to be a bullpen session today.
You don't think Mize is locked in? Because that would take him down to 2.
Mize might be locked in to be that starter, but I mean, he didn't make it out of the 5th inning last night.
No.
But if the bullpen goes well today with Reese Olson, he indicated kind of that he would be maybe not necessarily a starter for this team, but a guy can give him innings because they don't know if he's going to be stretched out enough.
He can go innings 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Right.
And I'm not joking. Like that, he'll get starter innings.
He doesn't need to go 7 or 8, but can he give us a 4 or 5?
Sure.
And that'd be a huge lift to this team if he's able to come back. And it looks like he's going to be, knocking on wood, he'll be able to come back. And that takes a tremendous amount of pressure off of this pitching staff.
I understand the rationale behind keeping Skubal on the same pace he's on right now. I get that. I mean, clearly AJ Hinch knows way more about baseball than I do. I just don't agree with it because then there is there's something to be said about sticking behind what's worked, right? I get that. But then when you get to playoffs, for example, why do managers put all of a sudden Game 7, Justin Verlander's in the bullpen, Max Scherzer's in the bullpen, Clayton Kershaw's ready to go tonight if you need him. That's not what's worked all year long. But now you've kind of, all right, we're pressing the issue a little bit because we're trying to really win these games.
Well, there's a couple reasons. One, that's a while back that you mentioned pitchers where that's happened, and it's baseball's different now than what it was even 5 years ago. So managers are just approaching it differently. And the other thing is when pitchers have done that and pitched on short rest when it's been in the playoffs, they really haven't done well.
They haven't, but I would say he's right, and I agree with you. I think if they get to a Game 7 situation, and by that I mean a Game 162 situation, I think everything's on the table. I think it's different when you still have 3 weeks of baseball to play, and you can't manage every game like it's Game 7. So I do think I would be surprised. I'll just say this. I would be surprised if there wasn't a breaking point where he says, okay, there's no point involved. We can't avoid the pressure now. I've got to have guys ready to go, and we're gonna do some crazy stuff here just to win this game.
Now that being said, as a fan, and I kind of agree with what you have to say, Ken, because I want to see Skubal. I'd rather see Skubal pitch against Baltimore and Kansas City than to pitch against Colorado and Kansas City, which is what he's scheduled to do right now. I mean, had they, let's say, gave him today off and pitched him tomorrow for the opener against Baltimore and gave him an extra day off, right? I mean, technically, he could actually pitch 2 games against Baltimore because they go Baltimore, Kansas City, and Baltimore. But these are the toughest. These are going to be the tough games they have to play. There's 9 of them against Baltimore and Kansas City, and he's only starting 1 of them as the way it looks right now. But again, I'm going to fall on the side and say I trust AJ Hinch.
I wonder if it'd be different if these were the last 9 games of the season.
Well, I wonder if it'd be different and how different would it be if this was next year and he's already got this 200 innings season behind him, right. that he's shown that he's healthy and you don't have to worry about things like that.
Do you remember there was a year that the Tigers said they were shutting somebody down when they reached a certain inning point? It might have been Fulmer. I don't. And everybody's like, no, you can't do that. He won't be around for the playoffs. And they were like, we're going to shut him down. I guess the other thing that's crazy about this is nobody thought we'd be here with this team.
No. And now they have, according to ESPN's graphic, an 11% chance of making the playoffs.
It went from like 3 to 6 to 7 to 9 to 10 to 11 over the last weeks. And yet they haven't gained any ground the last couple of days, but it goes up every day. It seems like it goes up every day.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear. I don't want AJ Hinch, to treat every game like Game 7. That's unrealistic. That's not, the good smart thing to do. I just meant he could have worked it where Skubal got an extra start, or like you said, Gator, he could be pitching against the Orioles.
It seems like one guy who surprised everybody hasn't surprised him. We'll get to that today at 12:30. We swing around the NFL next. here on 97.1 The Ticket. Hey, you guys hear me talk about Twin Peaks a lot. It's hard not to in terms of being a sports bar. No one does it better. But compared to other restaurants, they deserve your time. They don't just serve up bar food. It's elevated and impressive. Do you know they have a scratch kitchen? Their team is there every day at 7 a.m. preparing all the food for you to enjoy. Whether you're in town for a holiday or not, Twin Peaks has something special for everyone. For starters, they smoke their own ribs, brisket, chicken wings, and thighs. They cut their own New York strips, craft their own meatballs, hand cut their chicken tenders and boneless wings, make all their own salad dressings. They even make their own croutons. They're more than just burgers and wings. Try their trophy trout or mom's pot roast and see for yourself. Dine in and enjoy with friends or carry out and share these barbecue favorites with family. There's not only the food, there's the high-end bar with a bourbon list, with Orphan Barrel, Jefferson's Reserve, Blanton's, Tequilas, Sincoro Anejo, Don Julio 1942. They pour the coldest beer in the state, teeth chattering 29 degrees. And don't forget about the beautiful Twin Peaks girls. You got football tonight. So check it out, college and NFL. To find a location nearest you, go to twinpeaksrestaurant.com. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views. Hey, it's Doug here, and as a Michigander, well, we're all Michiganders. We know how tough our roads can be, and they're only going to get tougher with the weather changing. If you've been in an accident, you need a legal team who's got you back, and that's where my friend Steve and his team at Michigan Auto Law come in. If someone I care about or a family member needs help, I'm connecting them with the team at Michigan Auto Law. They choose to take on fewer cases so they can provide the best communication, and the payoff, well, more time on your case, which means bigger and faster settlements. They care more, so you win more. Michigan Auto Law. Auto accident attorneys. Visit autolaw.com. That's autolaw.com. You know, most weeks, Thursday night game, people like to give you winners. Gator and I like to give you who the loser's going to be in the Thursday night game. So tonight, we got the Bills and the Dolphins. They're both 1-0. Gator, who picks up their first loss tonight?
Well, Doug, you look at this game and you see that injuries are going to play a role in this. I mean, from Miami's standpoint, without Mostert, the running back, Devin Achane is questionable in this game. That's difficult for them. But on the other side, Buffalo's without Smoot. And when you don't have a Smoot on the field, you don't have much of a chance. The other thing is that Josh Allen's banged up, right? He banged up his hand in that game last week in a win over Arizona. The Bills, they gave up 28 points to the Cardinals. And what's going to happen when they face Tyreek Hill, assuming there's no incident with Tyreek Hill before the game? I just
get to the stadium first.
Yeah. All these things just play a role in why Buffalo loses tonight's game.
So weather could play a factor, seeing that in the forecast, it looks like there could be some thunderstorms. And the question is, they obviously won't play in the thunderstorms, but will they play in the rain? And if they do play in the rain, who does that benefit? You look at Miami, who had the best weekend through the air of any team in the NFL, one of the worst weekends on the ground. So I guess for that reason, I'm going to play the weather card here a little bit. I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say Miami loses tonight's game. So there you go.
I feel like you're always biased, though. You get the Tua thing.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah.
This is the first time I've picked Miami in anything. Oh,
yeah, but you're picking them to lose.
It is loser chooser.
It's loser chooser.
All right. So let's get to this. Leading into Tiger baseball. Interesting. They asked AJ about the trade when they traded Jack Flaherty and they got Lorenzo, excuse me. Tyron. Whatever. They got that dude, low-level catcher. He was the prize, but they also got this Trey Sweeney.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have to say that everybody's surprised that Trey Sweeney, most people are surprised that Trey Sweeney's called up and contributing. And the other hit a home run last night.
His fourth.
You listen to AJ Hinch, he doesn't sound like they were all that surprised that Sweeney's doing this at this level. We'll see how it turns out. I would bet, though, that a month and a half later, Tiger fans are feeling way better about this trade than they did a month and a half ago because Lorenzo is absolutely tearing it up, and Sweeney has probably already exceeded expectations. And you know what's funny? You want to win the day when you make a trade. You really want to. You want to go out and you want to say, when it's all said and done, you're getting praise for what you returned. This was one of the least popular trades in a purge situation that we've ever seen the Tigers have, and they've had some bad ones. But when they got the Dodgers number 8 and number 22 prospect, people was the response was, that's it for Jack Flaherty. And look at us now, a month and change later, and it doesn't matter what it looks like on paper. What does it look like on the field? And it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, remember there were people who said, there were reports. It wasn't even just fans or people go on a message board. There were reports that Tigers had to settle for this group of players, and you had to do a deeper dive into what settling means. I mean, if you're asking for the moon from the Dodgers and they're not going to give it to you, you know where you want to really be at or what you're expecting to be at, and they meet that, and then someone's going to interpret it as, well, they settled because they really wanted this, but they ended up with this.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God that they settled for Trey Sweeney.
Yep.
I mean, you talk about a guy who looks competent at shortstop.
Yep.
Love that he's got size. He's 6'3", 215, left-handed swing, power. The home run last night was over 400 feet and almost 109 miles an hour. He just turned on it. It was great to see, and he's fielding the position, near flawlessly to this point. He looks really good there. But ground ball to short, don't have to worry about the throw. It's going to get over and it's going to get right to Torque or whoever is playing first base, and let's move on to the next batter. I've been very impressed with what he has done, and he does have a little bit of a track record in the minors of being an offensive player, but to see him play defensively, I like that. And knowing what they have, or at least what they think that they have with Lorenzo, it's very, very exciting for the future.
Funny. It's funny when you think about expectations and what somebody is given, because Javi Baez is it's such a bad situation here in Detroit. Trey Sweeney comes in, as he said. AJ Hinch said that he was no throw-in. He was a targeted player. I think people saw him as a throw-in. Like, this is a AAA guy that, gets a shot if Kreidler gets hurt. I don't think people had any expectation. You come up here and you exceed the expectations, and you are not expected to be something. You are something. Now, I think when you're a number 22 prospect, it's cool that he's done it for a period of time here. It's like, can you keep doing it?
Yeah, exactly. You bring up Kreidler. It's interesting because, ironically, Kreidler was sent down to the minors today because Wenzel Perez is joining the team. So they choose Sweeney over Kreidler, which they did initially anyway. I mean, he's played very well. I don't know if there's a long shelf life with this. I have no idea if he's the future shortstop for this team. I doubt that he is, given that they just drafted one in the first round. But he's still years away because he's 18.
Yep.
But can Sweeney hold this position for the next few years?
I was about to say, I would bet on Trey Sweeney being their starting shortstop opening day next year.
I would too.
Yep. And again, he's almost caught Baez in home runs in the short period of time he's been here. Well, Baez had 6. He's got 4.
Yeah, he's been productive. It's really nice to see with his OPS at 756 in a small sample size in just 21 games, but that's leaps and bounds better than what they were getting before.
All right, just so people know what's on the line today, Tigers, this wild card game, they can gain a half in this wild card race. I should say they can gain a half a game because Minnesota and Kansas City neither play. If they win today, they'd be 2.5 behind Minnesota, and they'd be 3.5 behind Kansas City with those 3 games in hand against the Royals.
Just saying.
I know you're just saying.
Just saying.
We keep just saying.
I'm saying don't look past reeling in Kansas City.
No. Hey, have a great day. Enjoy the game. Stay safe, everyone, and treat each other with respect. Tiger Baseball next on 97.1 The Ticket.